Looking across Lake Ontario, Skydome stands as a Toronto landmark, and these days the CFL has the building all to itself, as it does the entire Toronto pro sports scene. Yes, if you've heard quite enough about labor trouble in two other sports, sit back and join us now for 3 hours of a game in which salaries are firmly under control and the players are happy just to be working. Welcome to Skydome. I'm Scott Oak. It's true that neither the Argos nor the Ticats have been sprinting to the finish line of this CFL season, but the fact is they can both still make the playoffs, so forget about records for a moment. The winner of this game will have taken a giant step towards postseason play. We've already made the point the best thing both teams have going for them are the sack kings, Rodney Harding and Tim Caulfield, but let's not create the impression that both these players will have clean routes to the quarterbacks today. Argo offensive tackle Francois Boulanger will line up against Caulfield, so he'll have to buy some time for Toronto's rookie quarterback Eric White, and 10-year Ticat veteran Dale Sanderson will try to keep Rodney Harding away from Todd Dillon, who starts at quarterback for Hamilton. And the Cats' offensive line will also try to open some holes for their newly acquired running back, Reggie Barnes, former CFL Rookie of the Year, who joined Hamilton this week from exile in Shreveport. In the booth to help describe the proceedings today is a man who used to lay a hurting himself on some CFL quarterbacks, and I'll give you a hint. It's not the guy with the white hair. Here are Don Whitman and James Curry.
Scott, I didn't think you'd be quite so specific. I thought you'd try and keep our viewers guessing for a while. Anyway, James, both teams are unveiling new running backs today. One isn't quite so new. Reggie Barnes was a standout during his playing career with the Ottawa Rough Riders.
He had a great start to his CFL career in Ottawa, and he's very happy to be back in Hamilton now. He came in from Shreveport, where he was misused. He was put in a fullback position where he was not accustomed. He's a ball carrier. And Don Southern, the head coach of Hamilton, is very happy to have him, Don.
And Don Southern has indicated that Reggie Barnes will probably see the ball about 20 times this afternoon. Mohamed Shamsid Dean is also hoping to see the ball about 20 times today for the Toronto Argonauts.
Mo Dean, as he was referred to by his teammates, and they're very happy to have him here. He's one of those backs that's very exciting. He's very quick, and they think he can be a big asset to their offense this afternoon.
He's been in the camp of the Argos for about a month, and he replaces Mike Pinball Clemens as the Argo running back this afternoon. So it could be that both teams will try and attack along the ground this afternoon at Skydome. Scott?
Don, there were a couple of important East Division matchups last night, one of them at Winnipeg Stadium, where the Bombers did the expected and handed the Shreveport Pirates their 13th consecutive loss, Winnipeg by 18. An important win for the Bombers because earlier Baltimore had beaten Ottawa in Baltimore. This one got out of hand. So both Winnipeg and Baltimore 9-4 now, sharing first as they have for most of the season. And both have clinched playoff spots, and the rest of the field in the East trails, but you can see how important a win is for both Toronto and Hamilton because the playoffs are still within reach. That's the motivation today then for both the Argos and the Cats. On Live at the Half today, highlights of both games last night, and Don Cherry wasn't on TV last night, Don, but we'll fill that void in people's lives as he joins us today. Don?
All right, Scott, this game is underway. And it's a reverse by the Argos. Thomas trying to run the reverse, but he is sacked back at the 15-yard line. Some good downfield tackling, a loss of 4 yards on the attempted return as Dave Donnell figured that one out and got to Eddie Thomas. And the Argos, rather than use some trickery to gain field position, are actually hemmed back in their own end at the 15-yard line.
Don, when you speak about Dave Donnell right off the back, last week he was a starting running back for the Ticats. This week he has a new role because of the acquisition of a Reggie Barnes, and that just shows he's a team player because he came out and made the initial play of the game for them.
Eric White with his first professional start, and he gives to Shamsid Dean, and he'll pick up about a yard, maybe two. John Moten was there to make the tackle. White came into the ball game last week in Edmonton in a 28-25 loss to the Eskimos, replacing the injured Marvin Graves. Graves had a back problem that forced him out. He is dressed as backup this afternoon, but this is probably going to be White's football game to win or lose. And the young man out of Bowling Green is very excited about this opportunity to start in the CFL, and he's excited about Shamsid Dean as a running back, as all members of the Argo coaching staff are, and he thought that Dean might be able to take some pressure off him with his ability to carry the football. But Dean is going to be stopped about a yard short of a first down, and the Argos are not going to take a chance.
Well, Eric White feels that this is the biggest game of his life since his '92 college season where he won the Las Vegas Bowl, and he had an outstanding game. He brought his team from behind on a last-minute drive to get the winning score, and now he gets his first initial start. And, Don, he's very elated about this, and the Argos are hoping big things from him.
Adrian Smith and Wally Zatilny are back for this third down punt by Wayne Lamley, and this is a good one. Smith has to go back to his own 32-yard line, and Smith is brought down as he crosses the 40 by Kita Crespina. That was a 53-yard punt and a 10-yard return.
Well, you know, it's going to be very important for the Ticats this afternoon with Todd Dillon at the helm to get some things started. Coaches will not be hesitant to go to Reggie Slack. They made the trade a couple of weeks ago, and they feel that Reggie Slack now has ingested enough of the Ticat offense where he can come in and run this team quite comfortably.
Yes, if Todd Dillon falters this afternoon, I don't think Don Sutherland will be at all hesitant to make a quarterbacking change. First and 10. Dillon under some pressure, and he's going to be tackled for a loss by Swift Birch. Birch certainly lived up to his given name there as he got through to bring down Todd Dillon for a loss of about 7 yards.
Well, Swift has really been developing as that weak side defensive end for the Argonauts. Last week he had 4 tackles versus the Edmonton Eskimos, and right now he makes the first initial big play of the game for the Argos defense.
Defensively, the Argos this year now have 29 quarterback sacks. Second and 17, Hamilton. Dillon swings it out to Barnes, and Barnes is going to get up to the 46-yard line, but he won't get a first down there in the grasp of Calvin Tiggle. And this is something that the Ticats thought they might be able to do, is use the short game effectively against the Toronto defense.
Well, Barnes is a very capable ball carrier, and it was a nice, safe pattern that time by Dillon, but how critical are sacks? And we spoke about it in our opening, and it showed up with Swift Birch getting that initial sack, and it limited the gain of Reggie Barnes because that would have normally been a first down on a 2nd and 10.
Paul Osbaldiston stands back at his own 32-yard line. Like many members of the Ticats, he is acutely aware of the financial problems that have befallen the team, not only this year, but for the past few years. And he is looking for a big performance from the Ticats this afternoon. Branch on the punt return bounces off a couple of tackles and brings the ball back to the 33-yard line. So on the exchange of kicks, the Toronto Argonauts have improved their position. This is the way the Argos line up offensively. The first starting assignment at quarterback for Eric White, and the new addition at running back, replacing the injured Mike Pinball Clemens, is Mohammed Shamsuddin, better known to his teammates as Modine.
Don, I just want to hear you say it 3 times real fast. That's all. I'll be pleased then.
Well, you see what the Argo equipment staff has done. They've just put Dean on the back of his jersey.
Ran out of letters.
White with a good inside fake. Pass is complete to Eric Grage, and Grage has a first down at the 49-yard line.
Don, this is what Eric White can do that a lot of people don't think that he can. He's 6'5", but he has a lot of mobility, and what he does, he buys himself some extra time here. The fake to Shamsuddin, he rolls to his right, finds Drake sitting in that open spot in the zone. He sets down, makes the nice, comfortable reception, gets the ball out to the 50-yard line.
A gain of 16 yards for Eric Grage. What a touchdown total to reception percentage he has. Grage has only caught 18 passes, but 5 of them have gone for touchdowns. The toss to Modine, and he will have close to another first down.
You forgot the Shamsuddin in there, but that's all right. I'll let you go. If you look at his running style, Don, he likens you a lot to Mike Saunders in Saskatchewan.
Hamilton defensively has a solid front 4 led by Tim Cofield, the sack leader in the CFL. And they have 2 new people, Simmons and Smith, with Cofield and Philbrick up front.
Well,
Cofield with 12 quarterback sacks this year.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Hamilton number 42. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And the unnecessary roughness call against John Moten will improve the field position of the Toronto Argonauts.
John Moten missed a large part of the season with a knee injury. He came back a couple of weeks ago in a game versus Ottawa, and he is not fully rounded in the form as of yet, and not too bright of a penalty right there for John to take that in a critical contest such as this.
First and 10 from the 35. Handoff to Modine, and Modine with a break to the outside. Now looking for some room. Takes it inside the 10. Coach Bob Obilovich likened his running style to Mike Saunders of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he has excited the fans in the first quarter at Skydome.
Well, it was evident right there. We see Modine here. He's going to get the ball. He's going to break it here and break it back out to the outside. Excellent running. He reads his blocking very well. As they come around, he takes it up, kicks it back out towards the sideline, picks up a block downfield from Drage, and gets down to the 10-yard line before being run out of bounds. Great run by Shamsuddin.
Good block by Chris Schultz to open the hole for Shamsid Modine for a gain, and now the touchdown for Mohammed Shamsuddin. Penalty flag on the play. It's a procedure call against Toronto.
You know, a bad break for the Argos, Don. Shamsuddin has run the ball very well here in the second drive for them, 4 carries, but you get this
illegal procedure. Toronto, no end on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. First down, repeat.
Coach Obilovich right there, not too pleased, but he has to be pleased with the way that Shamsuddin has run the ball thus far in carrying it. He's very explosive. He reads his blocking very well, and that's something that you don't normally get in a first-year back in the CFL. You get a guy who's all excited. He wants to run past his blocking, but this is a guy that the offensive mind will not mind blocking for.
Shamsuddin goes out. Smelly comes into the ball game. And the toss goes to Smelly, but there's a penalty flag on the play. And again, it's a procedure call against the Argos. They're shooting themselves in the foot deep in Hamilton territory.
Sometimes, Don, when you get a new pivot in, the voice inflection, the cadence call, they're
illegal
much
procedure.
different.
Toronto number 68, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Mike Jovanovich, former Tiger Cat, might have been a little overzealous playing against his former teammate. He's the right guard on this play. And they called him for illegal procedure. He had to do something prior to what we just saw to get a flag, because it looked like he was pretty stationary in his stance at that point.
So now the Argos are back at the 17-yard line. First and goal from that point. White operates from the shotgun. Looking for Drage down near the 5-yard line, and he makes the catch. They really stepped out actually at the 6-yard line.
I've been impressed with Eric White's play selection thus far. He's mixed the pass and run very well. The pass is to Shamsuddin, and he's gone to Eric Drage twice, and he's come up with key receptions to keep the Argo drives moving. He's rolled out again to buy himself some time, and you see Tim Cofield right in his face, but he hangs in there, he fires the ball out, and Drage, with excellent concentration, gets the 1 foot down prior to going out of bounds.
Drage returned to the lineup last week against Edmonton after missing the previous game against Ottawa. White operates from the shotgun, and he goes down in the grasp of Tim Cofield. Sack number 13 for the CFL leader.
The sack masters. Tim Cofield leads the CFL. That time an example of his explosive pass rushing ability.
Cofield was lined up against Joe Burgos. Burgos is the designated import for the Argos this afternoon, and he moved in on this play, replacing Francois Boulanger, but Cofield came through cleanly.
Eric White has to help out his offensive tackle in that situation. He needs to step up in the pocket, allow Burgos to push the rush past him. That way he'll have an opportunity to get the pass off.
Lamley will attempt a 22-yard field goal. And it is good, as the Argos are first on the scoreboard with 8:55 remaining at Skydome in the opening quarter. Mohammed Shamsuddin signed with the Argos on Labor Day weekend when they were playing at Iberwin Stadium in Hamilton, and is dressed for the first time this afternoon. Has been impressive in the opening quarter. 4 carries for 47 yards. A touchdown run was called back by a procedure call. And then Tim Cofield took the Toronto Argonauts out of touchdown range, and with his quarterback sack on Eric White, his 13th of the year, forced them to settle for a Wayne Lamley field goal. It's 3-0 as the Ticats try and get some offense going with Reggie Barnes, the ball carrier. Reggie Barnes was the Ottawa Rough Rider running back from 1990 through last year, and in his debut in the CFL against the Hamilton Ticats in July of 1990, he ran for 189 yards. Winfield has moved from an outside position to a slot back position, and with Barnes out of the running back position, Todd Dillon might try and exploit that short passing game. Looking for Winfield, and Winfield could not hang on to it.
Well, just as you alluded to, Don, he was going to the short passing game. They came with the 3 receivers set to the right side. Winfield was the inside guy that tripped formation, broke it to the outside as the 2 outside guys that ran off the defensive secondary. The ball was just low, and Winfield, probably lack of concentration, not playing that much in the past couple of weeks, just didn't haul that one in.
Winfield, through his career, has primarily been a wideout, but he went to Coach Don Sutherland and said, to keep Orlando McKay in the lineup, I will move into the slot back position.
Well, what he wanted to do offensively was keep the most talent that the Ticats had on the same field at the same time, and that's what he did. And that's the unselfishness of Earl Winfield, looking at it from a team aspect other than a personal aspect.
Paul Osbaldiston's punt goes out of bounds in the vicinity of the 41-yard line, and that's where the Argos will scrimmage 1st and 10 when we return to Skydome.
Welcome back to Skydome. It's the Argos by 3 with 7:50 to go in the first quarter. Here's Mike Pinball Clemens. You can tell by the way he's dressed what his status is for the game today. Mike, I know that you can't say enough about the importance of your team winning this game, but go ahead and try.
Well, it's of omni importance. This is a game that is key to us maintaining our position for the playoffs.
Okay, Mike, hang on. We'll get back to you. Don?
And the man who has replaced the pinball, Muhammad Shamsuddin, is having a great afternoon so far. He carries once again and picks up about 7 yards. Scott?
Okay, Don, Mike, it's a sprained ankle that's got you out of this game. You be okay for next week?
Oh, most definitely. I felt like I could have gone today, but Coach Obilovich thought it best if I rest today, make sure I'm okay for the rest of the season.
You see, that's what you get for being a finely tuned racehorse. You should be more limber like me.
This is true.
Okay, Mike, thanks for your time.
Scott, I don't know if you can just call that limber.
And here's Shamsuddin once again for a first down as he takes the ball up to the 54-yard line, stopped there by Hassan Bailey. And what an opening quarter Shamsuddin is having. 6 carries for 60 yards.
Well, I think the Argos have found a diamond in the rough right here with Shamsuddin. He's done a fine job. What I've been most impressive with him is that he picks up his blocking. He reads what his offensive linemen are doing. He doesn't outrun them as they make their blocks. Then he slides off of that and picks up the yardage.
I spoke with Eric White prior to the game, and he said this would take a lot of heat off him if Dean had a good game. The pass down the sidelines incomplete. It was intended for Paul Masadi. He was being covered by Adrian Smith. Masadi looking to become only the 2nd Canadian Argo receiver to catch passes for over 1,000 yards in a season. The other was Bobby Taylor.
Well, he's been stuck for the past couple of weeks at a little over 900 yards. But Adrian Smith that time with excellent inside-out coverage on Masadi. The ball was underthrown by White, but also Masadi was looking back into that brilliant sunlight, and it might have caused a little distraction for him.
2nd and 10 from the midfield stripe. The Argos leading by a score of 3-0. Little swing pass. The ball comes loose, and Dean fumbles out of bounds. So the Argos will retain possession.
Nice pursuit by the Ticat defense that time. Tried to get a little slip screen out in the flat, get Shamsuddin some blocking in front of him, but the Ticats read that very well and pursued out and made the tackle. We'll see it right here. Quick hit from White out to Shamsuddin, and watch the Ticat pursuit get over here very quickly. Bailey that time with the initial contact and knocked the ball free out of bounds.
Lamley stands at his own 43 for this 3rd down punt. His first kick was a beauty. This one isn't nearly as good. It's going to go out of bounds without any opportunity for a return at the 24-yard line. That was only a 30-yard kick. His first was 53 yards. Bob Obilovich was saying, I think every week I better bring somebody in to work out at the punting and place-kicking position. That seems to be when Lamley plays his best, when someone is threatening his job.
Well, he's had an up-and-down year for the most part, Don, and, you know, consistency for a young player is very key, and when you don't have anyone to work with daily, he's the lone kicker on the Argo roster, so it's hard for him to have someone to associate with during practice during the week.
Quick inside pass intended for Paul Bushy. There was a flag on the play, depending on what the penalty call is. Ticats, illegal procedure. Will the Argos accept or decline?
You'll decline this one here.
Illegal procedure. Hamilton, number 1. Penalties declined. Second down.
Well, Earl Winfield dropped the first pass thrown in his direction, and he's called for procedure. He may be having some problems adjusting to the slot back position. Almost intercepted. Eugene Toney, the linebacker, had dropped off in coverage. And that pass by Todd Dillon wasn't even close to the intended receiver.
Well, we get Dillon rolling to his right, and he throws this ball sidearm. He never saw Eugene Toney coming across from his linebacker position. But Knight's lane coverage that time by Eugene Toney. He didn't have a particular receiver. He just had an area in the zone. He got there, and he's able to deflect the pass.
The man that Dillon was looking for was Calvin Means, but there were 3 Argos defending against Calvin Means, and it was Eugene Toney who was able to knock it down. Paul Osbaldiston back at his own 10-yard line for this third down punt. And this is a line drive type of kick that is taken by Branch on the run, and Branch brings it across midfield into Hamilton territory with 5:01 remaining in the opening quarter, and the Argos in front 3-0.
Don, you know, the funniest thing about the press conference that we attended yesterday was Paul Osbaldiston asked the first question when Coach Bob Obilovich showed up. He was standing up against the wall. He was holding the press guy in front of his face, and he said, "Coach, do you plan on putting much pressure on the punter tomorrow?"
And Obilovich was about set to answer the question when he realized who was asking the question. That broke everybody up. White throws deep for Masadi. A jump ball, incomplete. I think that's a throw White would like to have back. That one kind of hung up there.
Well, the young quarterback right now has not been able to gauge the speed of his receivers. Paul Mazzatti can run with any receiver in the CFL, and that's the second time that Eric White has hung a pass up, and it became a jump ball situation. He's very fortunate this time, because if Todd Wiseman had been playing the ball instead of trying to get a hit on the receiver, he would have come up with the interception. Francois Belanger doing a good job here against John Moten, giving his young quarterback the time to throw the football.
Eric White on 2nd and 10. Again, operates from the shotgun. Quarterback draw. 6'5", 220-pound quarterback is stopped short of a first down by middle linebacker Michael O'Shea.
When you look at Coach Bob Obilovich here, you know, he has to be concerned with Eric White running the football. He's the only quarterback that they have healthy on their roster today, and if he goes down, Marvin Graves, who have had the back problem, he will be forced to come into the game, and he's not 100% yet.
Graves really isn't expecting to see any action this afternoon, and that was the reverse situation last week in Edmonton. White really didn't expect to play because Graves was the starting quarterback, but he went down early after completing an 87-yard pass and run play with Eric Grage. Lamley's punt angled towards the corner, but it will bounce into the end zone. Wally Zatilny quickly jumps in to grab it, and he traps Kevin Smelly inside the 5-yard area. A heads-up play by Wally Zatilny with 3:46 remaining in the opening quarter.
4-0 Argonauts at Skydome, 3:46 to go in the first quarter. The Ticats have John Moten at defensive tackle as Mike Philbrook is in the locker room now being attended to. He's in there because he's got a badly sprained hand, and they're putting a cast on it, so he'll return, they expect, sometime in the second quarter with his hand casted, and that will allow the Cats to return to their normal defensive alignment. Don?
Moten runs from the rush end position defensively with Steve McKee moving into his linebacking position. The Argos have dominated the football game so far in the opening quarter. The inside toss to Reggie Barnes, and Barnes provides Hamilton with a gain of 16, and there's a penalty flag. This could be a late hit. Dale Sanderson and Mike Campbell were wrestling on the ground after the ball had been thrown to Reggie Barnes. We'll wait for Dave Ewell.
Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 56, on the face mask. 15-yard penalty.
What would an Argonaut Tie-Cat battle be without a little scuffle like that? Mike Campbell and Dale Sanderson on the play right there. Well behind the play after Reggie Barnes had picked up the first down. I think they're going to reverse this call on Mike Campbell.
It took place after the first down had been picked up. So the 15 yards is marched off against the Tie-Cats. That takes the ball back to the 36-yard line. So the net result is a 1-yard gain, but it's first down again.
Well, both players were holding on to the face mask. We'll see it right here as Barnes comes right up the middle. Nice play call. Change of direction that time by Todd Dillon to get the ball to Barnes after it looked like he was going to pass with it.
First and 10 from the 36. Barnes the ball carrier, and he's nailed right at the line of scrimmage by ex-Tie-Cat Jeff Fields with help from Swift Birch.
Swift Birch has really been impressive thus far here in the first quarter. Has played a strong game, and from his weak defensive end position, he is starting to develop, become a more consistent player, and the Argo coaching staff is very pleased with his progress.
Jeff Fields, a player Bob Avilovich thought would have trouble adjusting to the Canadian game when he first saw him because of his size. But he is quite impressed with his ability to run. The pass complete down the sidelines to Means, and Means continues to run, but he stepped out of bounds at the 48. Don Sutherland was right there complaining that Means had maintained his balance and stayed in bounds, but Bill Vinovich, the sideline judge, made the call.
Don, in games that we've watched, Kelvin Means has been the primary target for the Tie-Cat quarterbacks. He was very close to the line right there. Got that white spat on, hard to get a clear shot of it. But he's been a primary target, and that's where coverages have been rolling up towards Kelvin Means, and it has hurt the Tie-Cats in situations.
26-yard gain for Means, and now it's Barnes picking his way through the Argo defense for about 5, brought down there by Rodney Harding.
Calvin Teagle also on the tackle, been very impressive in his initial CFL season at middle linebacker for the Argonauts. Their leading tackler, the leading tackler in the league coming into this week of play in the CFL, and he's been probably the brightest spot on this Argo defense all season long.
1:49 remaining in the first quarter. It's 2nd and 5. Pass complete to Winfield, and Winfield is caught immediately. He isn't going anywhere in the grasp of Eddie Thomas.
Well, a poorly thrown ball by quarterback Todd Dillon. Winfield had to go up high to make the reception, so he had to wait, and it gave Eddie Thomas time to close on him. You'll see Eddie right here as he closes, and he made contact before Winfield was able to come back down to the ground with the reception. Todd Dillon a little frustrated right there, feeling that he had him open and he should have gotten the ball there a little sooner. He's not happy with the production that his offense has had here in the first quarter.
Offensive production has been a problem all season for the Tie-Cats. They've only been able to put the ball into the end zone with their passing attack 13 times. Last year, for the entire season, they only had 12 passing touchdowns. Osbaldiston's 3rd down punt bounces away from Branch, and he's going to let it roll into the end zone for a single point. So with 1:12 remaining in the opening quarter, it's now a 4-1 football game after a 47-yard punt by Osbaldiston.
I'm the one that knows that if we get a freaking back out, I got to get out of something. Y'all freaking get in the spot. You see Will, you got the hot. If he's off, I mean, that's tailor-made. We got to freaking be in the spots. All right? Let me take care of everything. It's about him.
Todd Dillon explaining what he's recognizing from the Argonaut defense, and he's expecting his receivers. And when you haven't played that often together, you don't always recognize the same things. He see it. It's just a matter of his receivers recognizing it. And you spoke about it, Don. Winfield moving to the slot from the wideout.
Well, that's one of the problems the Tie-Cats have had early in the ball game. As you heard Todd Dillon explaining to the receivers, they are not on the same page as far as their reads are concerned. Mohamed Shamsuddin, the ball carrier, brought down by Greg Eaglin. A pickup of a couple of yards. It will be 2nd and 8. 37 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. 4-1, the Argos lead the Tie-Cats. Rob Crefo comes into the ball game at the slot back position, replacing Eric Drage. Burgos is in at tackle. Deep throw. connects with Gordon. 43 yards with Eaglin making the tackle.
Don, we get a good look at it right here. A post route, that time by Bobby Gordon. He got the inside release on Greg Eaglin, and Eaglin was not able to keep up. Tim Cofield has been working relentlessly from his rush-in position. He gets to White late along with Bailey, but White has hung in there and got the ball to his receiver.
White has completed 4 of 6 pass attempts for 71 yards. This should be the final play of the opening quarter. From the 31, draw play with Shamsuddin, and he gets to the line of scrimmage and maybe a yard more before being stopped by Steve McKee on the final play of the opening quarter at Skydome, with the Argos leading by 3. This first Sunday in October, a beautiful sunny day in southern Ontario. The roof of the Skydome is open as the Argos lead the Ticats after 15 minutes by a score of 4-1. Statistically, in the opening quarter, the story revolved around the new running back, Mohamed Shamsuddin. He has 8 carries for 64 yards for Toronto. He put the ball in the end zone on one drive, but it was called back by procedure. Rob Creefo had his hands up, was ready to grab the throw, and it was knocked away by Gary Wilkerson.
Good recovery that time by Gary Wilkerson. Eric White is not putting that much velocity on the passes, trying to get those deep outs to his receivers. He takes a hit from John Moten as he releases that ball, but Rob Creefo had to wait a long time for that ball to arrive, and when he got there, Wilkerson had recovered and broke up the pass play.
Eric White has his grandparents and his mother watching today's game. It was not planned that they would be here to watch him as a starting quarterback. They were just coming up to watch this game, having their son and grandson as a starting quarterback as a bonus. There's a penalty flag on the play as Lamely splits the uprights, and it's going to be holding against the Argos.
And Wayne is going to have to try this one all over again from 10 yards further back. He hasn't been that consistent with his field goals this year.
Holding, Toronto number 37, 10-yard penalty, third down repeated.
He was 21 of 33 coming into today's game, and right now he's going to be pushed back to around 47 yards, and so the Argonauts are going to send in their punting team.
Yeah, 47 yards would really be about the limit of Lamely's kicking prowess.
Don, his longest of the year is 50 yards, and he hit that at Ivor Wynn Stadium on the Labor Day game. But this right here with the swirling wind in Skydome, Obilovich doesn't want to take any chances with his big guys still out there trying to cover the if it's missed.
Adrian Smith and Zatilny are back for this third down punt. Smith takes it at the 2-yard line, and he goes down at the 4. Something that Obilovich said about Lamely is that he has better skills than other kickers he's been associated with in the Argo organization in placing the ball. He said he can angle it to the sidelines on third down punts much better than his predecessor, Hank Olisic.
Well, that's one of the things that he's done very well, Wayne Lamely, is that he's kicked the ball, and we saw that evident in the first quarter where he angles it. He cuts down the field that a return man has to get his blocking set up in, and that time Adrian Smith made a poor decision. He should have let that one bounce into the end zone. 3 receivers wide to the right. Dillon gives to Barnes, and Barnes is dropped for a loss by Swift Birch. Is he having a strong football game? He's been true to form to his name. He's been very swift this first half. His third tackle of the first half thus far. Excellent penetration working against Val St. Germain, the rookie offensive tackle of the Ticats. Right here you see him come across. He stands St. Germain up. He gets the penetration on Barnes, and he drops him for a yard loss on the play. 2nd and 11, Hamilton. Dillon with the deep drop, throws for Means over his head. He was being covered by Eddie Thomas, so the Argos are going to get the ball back in excellent field position. Don, probably one of the biggest problems we've seen with the Ticats and a couple of the broadcasts that we've done with them is Kelvin Means. Great receiver, but the quarterbacks love to go to him as the primary target. They don't often check off to the other receivers, and it just rolls the defense into that side of the field, and a lot of times they've come up empty. Dillon has not thrown in the direction of either Orlando McKay or Ken Abraire so far today. And both of those are quality receivers.
Osbaldiston with a low driving kick, but a good one out of the end zone. Branch takes it at the 50. Branch breaks a couple of tackles and gets it back to the 39. He's tackled there by Brad Alberg, a 46-yard kick and a 10-yard return. On September 7th, Reggie Slack was traded from Toronto to Hamilton for Jeff Fields. Coach Don Sutherland said he would not hesitate on inserting Slack into the ball game this afternoon, and with Slack warming up on the sidelines, it appears likely that he will be replacing the starting quarterback, Todd Dillon, the next time the Ticats get the football. But right now, Hamilton's concern is trying to stop Eric White and the Argos. They have the ball at the 39-yard line. Swing pass intended for Gordon. It was just beyond his reach. He was being covered by Eaglin. It will be 2nd and 10.
One of the things Eric White has to do more of is recognize what his offensive line is doing in front of him. That time, Mike Jovanovic had sealed Tim Cofield to the inside, and he stayed inside. If you can get that big offensive lineman to pull out that far, seal the corner, you have to step outside and understand what he's doing. We'll get a shot of it. Watch. Right here as Jovanovic gets outside. He gets Cofield pinned inside, but White stays inside. He has to step outside and read the block. That way it will give him more time to visualize downfield.
2nd and 10, 3 receivers wide left. Quick pass to the right to Paul Massotti, but Massotti, taking that look in, is unable to pick up a first down. He's caught by Adrian Smith.
You look at Eric White right here. He's gotten away from Shamsuddin Modine, the running back who had an excellent first quarter to start out, had over 60 yards rushing. Now they've just gone away completely from their running game, and they're throwing the ball on every down, and they have to settle for long field goal attempts.
Lamely will be trying a 41-yarder. 12-12 remaining in the second quarter. His longest field goal of the year, a 50-yarder. This kick is long enough, and it's accurate enough, and the Argos now have a 6-point lead.
Well, the Argonauts needed to get something out of that drive, but they must remember what made them productive in the first quarter, and that was the running game. Coach Jobilovich is going to have to regather his troops and say, hey, guys, we did something well, and let's stay with that. Shamsuddin did a fine job of running with the football. Let's keep him involved in the game. And now the Ticats are going to make a change, and most likely it will be Reggie Slack at quarterback, but they're going to go back and return the kick on this play.
Mohamed Shamsuddin was in the camp of the Seattle Seahawks prior to joining the Argos on the Labor Day weekend, and it was after the Labor Day game at Ivor Wynn Stadium that Reggie Slack and Jeff Fields swapped uniforms.
And Reggie Slack coming over to the Ticats. Took him a couple of weeks to learn what the offensive scheme was here, even though it was only a few miles down to QEW, but the systems were totally different. And then last week in his debut with the Ticats, he was 3 for 5 for 43 yards, but he's getting an earlier shot this afternoon, and we'll see what he'll be able to do.
Wally Zatilny takes the ball at his own 20-yard line. And Zatilny is stopped at the 40. And that's where the Ticat offense will start under the direction of Reggie Slack. That was a 20-yard return by Wally Zatilny. He was tackled by Leon Hatziano. Slack, as a Ticat, has thrown 5 passes, completed 3 of them for 43 yards. As an Argo, he completed 39 of 63 for 483 yards. He had 4 intercepted, and he passed for 3 touchdowns.
Well, right now it's going to be very important to utilize everything that he's learned and get things going. And Ken Abrera is the first recipient.
Abrera's first catch of the afternoon. And that's his 42nd catch of the season. This is his second best season of his career.
Well, Reggie Slack right now, you know, he's coming in. A lot of pressure on him, you know, having played here with the Argos last year and early this season and coming out. There's a lot of emotion involved when you get in a game like this, but he knows that the emotion has to be as a Ticat. These are his teammates now, and the productivity that he delivers will be for this team.
2nd and 3. Reggie Barnes, the ball carrier, wrapped up and actually dropped for a loss by Mike Campbell. I've often often wonder, James, why do defensive players celebrate? When an offensive lineman makes a great block, you don't see him jumping up and down, throwing his arms in the air. Now, you're speaking from the defensive side of the football.
Well, no, I'm speaking from the broadcast booth now, but it comes more so when a defensive lineman gets a sack. When a defensive lineman gets a sack, it's more of a situation like an offensive player scoring a touchdown, and you don't get that many of them, just like a receiver or a running back doesn't score that many touchdowns, so you want to have the opportunity to celebrate just a little bit.
And the O-lineman only gets mentioned if he draws a penalty or misses a block, right?
Well, hey, that's whatever praise he can get, he should be happy with it.
Branch takes the ball at the 25 and brings it back to the 35-yard line. Stopped there by Paul Bushy. A 42-yard kick, an 11-yard return.
Paul Bushy, one of the best special team players for the Hamilton Ticats. He's the starting fullback now. Lee Knight went down with an injury, and Paul Bushy was inserting into the lineup. Does an excellent job on special team play, and he's a very well-rounded blocker in that offensive scheme of things.
11:06 remaining in the first half. 7-1. The Argos lead the Ticats. The Argos won the September 5th meeting at Iverwin Stadium by a score of 31-19. Philbrick is back in the lineup. He has a big cast on his left hand. Shamsuddin for another Argo first down. I think the fans in Toronto are going to take quite a liking to this young man.
Well, you have to like what you've seen with Shamsuddin thus far in the first half. Look at the blocking in the interior line. Michael Jovanovic pulls around, gets the kick-out block. Watch Shamsuddin drop that shoulder as he gets there to make contact with Wiseman, the safety, to pick up that extra yardage. But when you have Philbrook playing in the middle of that offensive line, he's a one-arm player now with a cast on his left arm. You want to go back to your running game.
The ball is fumbled by White on the exchange from center, and it looked like Philbrick is the man who recovered. Despite the cast on his left hand, Philbrick was able to pounce on the loose football.
They had a huge gaping hole, just the mishandling of the ball by White right there, because they had kicked Philbrick out, and where they kicked him to, that's where the ball landed, and he fell right on top of it. But a big recovery by Philbrick. We've seen a defensive struggle thus far. Right here, you'll see Philbrick as he's pushed out by center Carl Coulter. If White could have handled that ball properly, they might have had a big play, but a big play for the Ticat defense.
With the size of the cast on his left arm, he absolutely smothered the football. A reverse with Winfield. Slack trying to throw a block on Campbell, and he gets enough of them to enable Winfield to turn the corner. Excellent play by Slack. He didn't quite take Campbell off his feet, but he got enough of them to enable Winfield to turn the corner on the reverse.
Well, we said he was a passer, not a blocker, so you can't expect great things from a quarterback when he's trying to run a block. But great play call right here. He pitches it back to the new running back Barnes, and Winfield comes around. We'll see right here Slack. He slows down Mike Campbell, allows Winfield to turn the corner, and he picked up an ever important first down.
A gain of 14. First and 10, the pass to Winfield, and he's caught by Whitley. It almost appears as though the Ticats are ready for Earl Winfield operating from the slot back position. They tried to run the short passing game with him, but it's been unsuccessful so far.
Don, if Reggie Slack had a pump fake to Winfield, turned back to his right, he had Paul Bushy sitting out in the flat about the 20-yard line. They did not account for him in pass coverage on that play, and he would have waltzed into the end zone.
Second and 7, 3 receivers to either side. The pass to Winfield, and he's got a first down inside the 20. Reggie Pleasant came up to make the tackle. Winfield has 6 of the Ticats' 13 passing touchdowns this year.
Donna, I think when Todd Dillon was having that conversation with the Ticat receivers on the sideline, that Reggie Slack was right there listening to what was occurring. He was telling them about the check down, the hot routes, when the linebackers are not there, and that's what Reggie Slack has come in and done. He's gone with the checks, the hots, and that's been successful for him thus far.
First and 10 from the 19. And Slack will get back to the line of scrimmage, and not much more. George Namaco, the safety, was coming on a blitz.
Namaco's a very interesting story. Started the season as the second-string tailback for the Argos. They've had a numerous amount of injuries at the safety position. 2 weeks ago, he was forced to go over to the defensive side of the ball, played his first game against Edmonton last week. Had not too bad of a game. He's made some adjustments, and they feel very comfortable with having him at the free safety.
Lamacco is the 6th starter the Argos have had at the safety position this year. 2nd and 10, that hot pattern to Winfield, and the Argos were ready for it as Eugene Toney had dropped back.
Well, they've recognized the hot, but, you know, sometimes you can go to the well too often, and that time he was very fortunate because if Eugene Toney had stepped up, he would have had an interception in front of Earl Winfield, but he laid back. He was comfortable with just batting the ball away, and the drive stops for the Ticats.
Paul Osbaldiston will come in for a 27-yard field goal attempt. Osbaldiston has only missed 2 of 27 tries this year from inside the 40-yard line. And he keeps that record intact as he splits the uprights to cut the Argo lead to 3 points.
Welcome back to Skydome on Live at the Half. We'll have highlights of wins that got Winnipeg and Baltimore into the playoffs last night, and that's with 5 weeks to go. We'll be joined by Don Cherry, who wasn't working last night because no one in the NHL was, and Ken Avrere, one of the most articulate players in the CFL, will explain how the Ticats stayed focused for this game in light of all the talk of financial doom in that city, Don, most of it justified with respect to the Ticat franchise.
Shamsid Dean picks up a couple of yards before being stopped by middle linebacker Michael O'Shea. O'Shea is having another fine season, the Rookie of the Year last year in the Canadian Football League, and the Guelph product continues to impress in his sophomore season. No sophomore jinx for this young man.
Well, he came in leading his team with 67 tackles coming into this afternoon's contest. He's made the adjustment quite comfortably coming from the outside linebacker playing on the weak side and moving into the middle, and he's been a big plus for the Ticat defense all year.
2nd and 8, Toronto. The Argos operate out of the shotgun. Cofield is after White. The pass intercepted by O'Shea. O'Shea took the deep drop from his middle linebacking position. It was intended for Bobby Gordon. The Ticats scored a field goal on the last turnover. They will try and capitalize on the interception by O'Shea to at least get back in even terms. But Cofield was putting pressure on Eric White, and that may have hastened the Toronto quarterback's throw.
Well, he also hurt his left shoulder on that sequence, but Michael O'Shea did a fine job of getting back in the coverage. You're right there. You see Tim Cofield as he comes around. Looked like he might have sprained that wrist, getting it caught under Eric White on the play.
1st and 10, Hamilton. Slack throws over the middle to Ken Avrere, and Avrere has a first down at the 28. A gain of 20 for Ken Avrere.
One of the things the Ticat quarterbacks have not done too often is gone to their inside receivers. That time, Reggie Slack got Ken Avrere one-on-one against Keita Crispina, got the inside release, found him in the seam, picked up the big play down to the 28-yard line.
2 years ago, Avrere caught 61 passes. That was his best season in the CFL. This year, he now has 43. Over the head of Calvin Means. Means had an impressive debut with the Ticats. In his first 2 games, he caught passes for over 100 yards. He made his debut against Shreveport on August the 20th.
Calvin Means, as we had alluded to earlier, is the favorite target of the Ticat quarterback since he got into the starting lineup. But one of the things we haven't seen Orlando McKay all afternoon on the backside working against Reggie Pleasant.
2nd and 10. Slack completes the pass to Avrere, and this will be close to another first down, depending on the spot. Kevin Whitley from his halfback position came up to make the tackle, and Avrere is still down.
Well, Kenny Avrere just getting back in the thick of things, and you can't afford to lose him.
4:36 is the time remaining in the first half. 7-4, the Argos lead the Ticats, with the Ticats on the march.
Coach Forrest Gregg plans his defense against an attack from the high-flying Gerald Elfin when the Blue Bombers visit the Pirates in Shreveport, Louisiana, next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. They're still tending to Ken Avrere.
the Wilfrid Laurier graduate, seemed to get his leg planted in an awkward position, and as he got hit from behind, he apparently injured his knee, and they are going to have to take him off to the dressing room. But this is a big blow for the Hamilton Ticats.
Right here, we get a shot of it. Watch as he plants his left leg when he comes back down. Right there, you can see him buckle the leg right here as he comes down and plants, and you can see it sort of give on him, and he tries to get off of it. As he turned his head, you could see something was wrong with Kenny Averre right at that moment, because he pulled up off the leg and he didn't put it back down on the ground. You can see him reach forward right there as he grabs. Right there, he knew something was wrong.
Well, he had that leg in an awkward position, overextended when he went up to grab the throw.
And Kenny, Don, is one of the brightest spots on this Ticat team. He is one of the team leaders. He's one of the team's pranksters. When things are not going well, he would always try to lift up his teammates with a little jokery in the clubhouse and everything right there. And you can see the concern of his teammates right there as they huddle around him on the field, and you can see the discomfort on Kenny's face right there.
Is jokery the same thing as being funny?
Make me laugh, big guy.
4:36 is the time remaining in the first half here at Skydome. It looks as though they're going to put his leg into a splint before they take him off to the dressing room. Right now, let's go down the sidelines, and here's Scott.
Well, Don, let's talk about Reggie Barnes as they attend to Ken Averre right now. Reggie Barnes had his first 100-yard game in the CFL when he was with Ottawa, second game of the 1990 season. He chewed up the Ticat defense in that one for almost 190 yards. Now he's hoping to do it for the Cats. Here is a look back on some of the yards he gained in that game against the Hamilton Ticats. It went sour for Barnes in Ottawa last year, and this year he ended up in Shreveport for 7 games where he was used as a blocking back, if you can believe that. That may tell you all you need to know about the philosophy of the coaching staff in Shreveport. So how happy is he to be with a team that will give him the ball? Reggie Barnes said to me earlier he's been waiting 2 years for this day, and I don't think this is any kind of a day that Ken Averre has been waiting for. It's clear he's got some knee damage, and I don't think we're going to see him back, but I'll find out what I can from the medical staff, Don, and give you the information as soon as possible.
As Averre heads to the dressing room, Richard Nurse comes into the ball game. First down for Hamilton. The handoff to Barnes, and Barnes will pick up about a yard, not much more. Scott talked about his CFL debut in the uniform of the Ottawa Rough Riders, July 19th, 1990. He ran for 189 yards, but despite that superb effort by the rookie from Delaware, Ottawa lost the football game 29-26.
Well, you can only do so much, and Reggie Barnes did his share that night against the Ticats, and hopefully he can do his share for him this afternoon.
2nd and 8, slack to the end zone. Means has the touchdown.
Once again, Don, off of the turnover, the Ticats are able to strike. Calvin Means picking up the touchdown pass from quarterback Reggie Slack. They haven't come that frequently this year from the Ticat quarterbacks, but a big one here at Skydome.
Means scored his first CFL touchdown in the Labor Day game at Iberwin Stadium. This is only his 3rd. And 2 of his 3, of course, have been against the Toronto Argonauts. 2 receptions for 42 yards for Calvin Means. As the Ticats are in front for the first time, Paul Osbaldiston adds the point after. There's a penalty flag in the play. The Ticats have produced 10 points as the result of Argo turnovers in this second quarter.
Well, Means has been the favorite target we've alluded to on a couple occasions this afternoon. Right here, you'll see as he breaks it off inside, he gets the pick by Richard Nurse, who picks off Eddie Thomas and Keita Crispin. Means breaks it off inside and picks up the touchdown. Right here, Barnes will make that slack, got the time from his offensive line. You'll see right there that the safety, Namaco, could not get back in time, and that's one of those mistakes. He's not a natural safety, but a jubilant Means after scoring the touchdown.
Well, don't change the score just yet. There was a procedure call against the Ticats on the convert. So they will line up to kick it again. Osbaldiston out of the hold of Todd Dillon. But this should be pretty much routine.
Chip shot.
And you can now make it official. It's an 11-7 Ticats lead over the Argos with 3:06 remaining in the first half. Scott?
Well, Don, the Ticats understandably feel better having scored a touchdown, but the wind did go out of their sails a few moments ago as they took Canavera to the locker room on the cart. And medical staff tells me it's the worst of all knee injuries. He has torn his major ligament in his left knee, is looking at surgery and 9 months of rehabilitation. So what a tough way for the season to end for Canavera.
Yes, it is a tough way for the season to end for Canavera, as he was having his second-best CFL season ever. Last year, he didn't score a touchdown as a pass receiver, 3 so far this season, and DeBrere had 44 pass receptions on the season, as the Ticat passing attack really didn't measure up to expectations when they went to training camp with Tim Rosenbaugh as their marquee player.
Well, Don, in the short time that Reggie Slack was in the game, Canavera had became his favorite target. He knows that the Argonauts are susceptible to inside receivers, and he had started going to his slot backs.
Shamsuddin on the kickoff return, and he brings the ball back across the 40-yard line. That was a 21-yard run back with Hassan Bailey making the tackle. 11-7, the Ticats lead in their only other meeting this year. The Argos on September 5th at Ivor Wynn won 31-19.
Last year, our employees earned almost $1 billion in salaries. Our suppliers and their employees earned over $5 billion. And we exported over $9 billion worth of products built here. To you, they're just components of your new car. But the sum of these parts is the livelihood of over 90,000 Canadians. At Chrysler, we're not just building cars, we're building Canada.
If you love chocolate, if you love the taste of chocolate a lot, come to Tim Hortons for your chocolate treats. Now made lovingly with Hershey's European-style cocoa and Chippett's Jumbo Chips.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Dodge Trucks, reinventing the truck.
Following the Michael O'Shea interception, the Ticats struck quickly. 5 plays, they moved 48 yards, with Calvin Means taking the Reggie Slack throw for the touchdown. Only the 14th passing touchdown this year for the Ticats, and that explains why only Shreveport has scored fewer points this season.
Well, that had been a big problem for them most of the year, and they were hoping with the acquisition of a Reggie Slack that they would be able to pick up that productivity. We see Cofield back in the game after walking off, hanging that shoulder on the last series.
Fake inside, little dump pass to Dwayne Ford, and Ford breaks a couple of tackles and turns it into a first down to the 54. Stopped there by Hassan Bailey.
Now Eric White is starting to incorporate all of his offensive weapons right here. We see with the delay screen to Dwayne Ford, not a play run too frequently now in the CFL, but Carl Coulter, the center, gets out and gets a key block, allowing Ford to pick up a first down.
Well, Bilovich talked about the intensity of Eric White, how he is really focused and has the respect of his teammates. And if he continues to spread the ball around, he'll certainly have the respect of his receiving corps, as Dwayne Ford, for the second consecutive play, handles the football and has a gain of about 5.
Well, that's one of the things he needs to keep doing, Don, is throwing the short passes. We've seen when he's tried to go long, he lets the ball hang up, and when he throws the short, more precision passes, he can get them there much quicker.
On second down, the toss to Shamsuddin, and Dean goes out of bounds but should have the first down. One of the things Obilovich likes about this young man is his ability to accelerate. It was kind of a stutter step as he turned the corner and suddenly turned it on.
You know, if the jersey was green, I would swear that it was Mike Saunders from the Saskatchewan Roughriders running with the football. The same type of running style, up and down, the same type of body movement, and you see it in Shamsir Dean just like you do it in Saunders. And if he can be as productive for the Argos as Saunders has been for the Green Riders, they have a very good running back coming up in their future here.
Where does that leave Pinball Clemens?
In the slot.
First and 10 from the 45. Shamsir Dean, the ball carrier again for about 4 more, stopped by Herman Smith, the right defensive end.
You know, you talk about Pinball Clemens. If you can utilize both of those players together, it will be an added plus for this Argo offense because it will relieve some of the burden on Pinball running the football all the time and put him back into his specialty, the punt and kick return, where he's such a viable weapon for this Argonaut team.
Shamsir Dean got the opportunity to play because of the injury to the pinball. If this was a playoff game, said Bob Obilovich, Clemens would probably play. Masadi makes the catch for a first down, taking the ball to the 33-yard line. Michael O'Shea and Don Odegaard made the tackle.
The effectiveness of Eric White throwing the short passes, Don, is much evident right here with the pass to Paul Mazzati. Got there in time. You saw the block there by Pierre Vercheval, the guard, kicking out, allowing Mazzati to pick up the first down.
8 for 13, 105, and this one was juggled by Masadi. He had 2 shots at it, couldn't hang on. He had some blocking help in front of him had he been able to grab the throw from White.
But he threw that one right into coverage, and John Moten put that shoulder right in the chest of Paul Mazzati, and you see right there that he was feeling that blow. We'll see him come underneath right here as Paul Mazzati gets there, and the ball bounces off of his chest, but watch the shot right there that he takes, and Mazzati was able to get up from that one and line up for the next play.
Bobby Taylor back in 1969, the only other Canadian receiver with the Argos to have over 1,000 yards. Dwayne Ford takes the ball to the 25-yard line. I shouldn't say the only other, the only Canadian receiver. Masadi is trying to duplicate the performance of Taylor.
Well, that was a great open field tackle on that play by John Moten because Dwayne Ford looked like he had a head of steam heading towards those first down markers, but Moten came up and met him quite sternly at that point and dropped him at the 25-yard line short of the first down, and Lamley has to settle for another field goal attempt.
This will be a 32-yard field goal attempt by Wayne Lamley. His first one was good from 22 yards and his most recent from 41. Movement at the line of scrimmage. There's the kick by Lamley. It's good. There's no penalty flag on the play. It looked as though Hassan Bailey had moved into that neutral zone, that 1 yard between the 2 lines of scrimmage, but there was no penalty flag, and Lamley draws the Argos to within a single point with a 32-yard field goal.
Well, right here we get a shot of it right here as the Ticats come into the neutral zone, but the center has to snap the ball. When they make that movement, he has to snap the ball. He allowed them to go back and get set, and when he allowed that, they were out of the neutral zone, and the Argos didn't pick up the first down that they were trying to get. They only needed 3, and the offside would have given them 5.
Wayne Lamley has been a man under some pressure this year as he moved in to handle both the place kicking and the punting chores. I guess it would be safe to say that he has been inconsistent, but he has had some strong games, and today is one of those strong performances.
Safe, you saying he's not making them all? No, it's been a struggle for him, and his first full season as an Argonaut kicker, but they have a lot of confidence in this young man, and they feel that he'll develop over the next couple of years into the kicker that they've been looking for.
Zatilny starts out from the 15-yard line. The return is set up to the left, but Zatilny is forced to go back the other way. Still manages to squirm up to the 35-yard line on a 21-yard return with 58 seconds remaining in the half.
A lot of excitement in that one return by Wally Zatilny, getting his opportunity this afternoon to return some kicks right there, trying to get all he could out of it in a very exciting kick return.
First and 10, Hamilton. The ball is at the 35. Reggie Slack has thrown a touchdown pass to Calvin Means this afternoon. He's only missed on 2 of 8 passing attempts. 4 receivers wide right. The inside toss to Reggie Barnes with a big hole. Barnes takes it all the way to the Argo 30-yard line.
I was just going to say, James, I haven't seen that formation with all the receivers lined up to the one side, and Barnes came back in to take the inside toss.
Well, trying something different, and you get the new quarterback. You got Barnes here. He's going to come inside as Slack drops back, and a gaping hole open here, and they'll just run right up the middle, untouched by the Argonauts here. Look at it here. Good job downfield by Harrells, the offensive center, but he pushes McKay down as he was trying to wait on his receiver to get a block and gets down to the 29.
First and 10. Slack won't get a chance to throw, although he does escape. And then is taken out of bounds. Walcott, who had moved into the safety position, was coming on the blitz and got to quarterback Reggie Slack, but couldn't control him.
Walcott came in on a safety blitz, but he's not accustomed to hitting the quarterback, I guess, and Slack was able to get away, pick up a yard, and save the down for the Ticats.
On second down, Slack throws it into the corner for Means. He's got it taken out of bounds at the 2.
Once again, the Argos came with the safety blitz, Don, and when you come with the safety blitz, that means one-on-one coverage in the back end. Walcott came through freely again, hit Slack as he delivered the football, but he had Means one-on-one against Eddie Thomas, and Means did a great job of disguising that the ball was not on its way, put his arms up only at the last moment to make the reception.
Means has caught 3 passes for 69 yards and a touchdown. First and goal for Toronto. Slack might try and run it in himself. No, he throws for Winfield. Touchdown. Winfield right at the goal line. His 7th touchdown of the season. The Ticats moving downfield quickly on a couple of key plays. Reggie Barnes. And then Means with Winfield putting it in the end zone with 11 seconds remaining on the scoreboard clock.
We get a shot here of Winfield, and he breaks it back. The key thing is he comes back towards his quarterback, working against Kevin Whitley, extends himself, makes the key reception for the touchdown to give the Ticats 17. Make that 18 points after the Osbaldiston convert.
Winfield called a team meeting following the 25-21 loss in Las Vegas last weekend. Don Southern was saying he has really developed into one of the team leaders, along with Paul Osbaldiston, Lee Knight, and Paul Bushy.
Don, this is what the Reggie Slack brings to the Ticats, the mobility at the pivot position, able to get outside of the rush, break contain, put that added pressure on the corner of the defense, and today he has equaled the most touchdown passes thrown by a Ticat quarterback in one game twice. They've done it. Before Tim Rosenbard left a game versus Ottawa, he had thrown 2 touchdowns. Last week, Todd Dillon had thrown 2 touchdowns. Now Reggie Slack has thrown 2 touchdown passes in less than a quarter of work thus far.
Well, when you take a look at the statistics for the year for the Ticats coming into this game, they played 12 games, 13 touchdown passes. It's not a great percentage.
It's not a great percentage, but if they can play the next 5 games like they played the first half of this game, and they still have 30 minutes to go, if they can play out the string here, they can get themselves on a roll. And once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. We saw last year Ticats versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. If not for one tough call late in the game, they may have been representing the East in the Grey Cup.
Branch on the kickoff return was hit initially by Carter and managed to spin away, but Richard Nurse finished the job. A 20-yard return with 4 seconds remaining in the first half.
Don, it's been a very productive first half for the Ticats offensively and defensively. We've seen the big plays defensively. Phil Brook with the fumble recovery, O'Shea with the interception. Both of those plays led to key first half points for the Ticats. It shows that defensive productivity can roll over into your offense, and the Ticats took advantage of that situation this afternoon.
Actually, a more productive offense in the second quarter when Reggie Slack took over from Todd Dillon. Shamsuddin, the ball carrier, and that will take the final 4 seconds off the clock as the Ticats take an 18-10 lead to the dressing room after 30 minutes of play here at Skydome. Let's go down to Field Level and here's Scott.
All right, Don, the Hamilton offense has just caught fire, and the Ticats lead the Argos. Both these teams fancy a playoff berth. When we come back, we'll see how 2 teams clinched playoff spots last night. Stand by now for Live at the Half. At Skydome, Argos and Ticats may not have legions of fans out to watch this renewal of the rivalry, but it means a lot to the players. Ticats lead at the half. When this one is complete, there'll be 5 weeks to go in the season, and 2 teams already have the luxury of playoff spots. Winnipeg and Baltimore confirmed them last night. At Winnipeg Stadium, Bombers got a bit of a scare from Shreveport. Pirates actually led 8-3 at one point, but Blaze Bryant's 3-yard touchdown gave Winnipeg a 23-8 cushion. The 0-12 Pirates cut into that, though, on Patton's 1-yard touchdown. Bombers' lead was cut to 8. Winnipeg pulled away in the third quarter. Tom Porras on in relief with Keith and McCann. 14 yards to Gerald Wilcox, who finished the game with 147. Bombers finished with a 39-21 win. Pirates have set a record with 13 straight losses to open this season. Haiti had better odds in the U.S. invasion than Shreveport did in Winnipeg last night. In the driving rain in Baltimore, the CFLers reeled off 40 straight points against Ottawa, 6 of them on this 50-yard run by Mike Pringle. Someone should explain how he wasn't good enough to play for Sacramento. Pringle's first of 2 touchdowns on the night. He had 114 yards rushing. Baltimore led 10-5 when Terry Baker's punt was blocked by Robert Park. And Ernest Fields, second man to try, took it in for the touchdown. Last week in Ottawa, Baltimore blocked 2 kicks by the Riders and returned both for major scores. Only one last night, but I don't think you'd call that progress for Ottawa. And in the third quarter, a 3-yard pass from Tracy Ham to Chris Armstrong sealed the victory if it had not already been sealed. And Baltimore won this one going away 40-13 in front of 37,000 fans. So Winnipeg and Baltimore both sport 9-4 records. They've been sharing first place on and off since week 4 and consistently since week 9. And the two are headed for a first place showdown on October 29th in Baltimore. So times are good for both those franchises. And then there's Hamilton. There's no disguising the situation there. Many have given it their best shot, but the Ticats are out of money now, and they're on financial life support for the rest of the season. They seem destined to move once this season is over, so it was against that backdrop the Cats got ready for this game today. How tough was it? We put the question to veteran receiver Ken Abraire.
It's difficult. The distraction is there. You can't say it doesn't bother you, but as a player, there are 2 days during the week. There's payday and there's game day. And for the guys who give 100%, game day is more important. For the guys who give 95 and just show up and try to collect a check, they're more payday type guys. And I think now the Ticats today as a football team are more of a game day type club, whereas in the past maybe we're more concerned about paydays.
And was Ken Abraire distracted in the first half? No, sir. It was game day for him, especially on this first down catch in a scoring drive late in the second quarter. But unfortunately, Abraire tore his knee, a season-ending injury for the veteran receiver. He'll need 9 months of rehabilitation, and that's a major loss for the Cats. So the Cats lead by 8 at the half. Stand by when we come back. Grapes will join us live. Well, at Skydome, the Argos and Ticats are at halftime with the Cats leading by 8. The CFL carries on, but we all know what's happened to hockey. The NHL season did not start as originally scheduled last night, and perhaps the worst part of that is what researchers are now calling CCD, Coach's Corner Deprivation. Don Cherry did not appear on television last night, but we're delighted to give him the opportunity this afternoon. He appears just outside the CBC building in downtown Toronto, where he's been a big hit at a CBC open house. I appeared there yesterday, Grapes, and didn't exactly get writer's cramp, but I know that you've been signing a lot of autographs, undoubtedly.
Well, actually, that's McLean in the background there. That's what he's doing this summer.
Don, you represent the working man, so I got to think you're delighted to appear in the telecast of a game that players are playing not so much for money, but for the love of football. I'm talking about the CFL here.
Boy, I'll tell you, I hear that poor Bob, if he loses on one side, he's going to cost him his job. And this is the game of the century for Hamilton. That's a tough one, boy. This is better than the Grey Cup. Pretty good game so far. Hamilton's playing like it's their last game if they don't win.
Yeah, I know you're a big Hamilton fan. Listen, to get back to this NHL thing, I'm not suggesting that NHL players don't love their game, but they and the owners are light years apart. Do you see any hope of the season beginning on October 15th?
Well, if they don't settle it by October 15th, I can't see it till Christmas because I understand the league has gone up from an 84. They'll play the 84th, the October 15th, and then they'll go 2 weeks later. We'll be playing in July. But if they don't get it settled by then, they'll go to a 50-game schedule, and look out by then. It'll be pretty tough. It's a sad affair because hockey was so down the States. Everything was going great. We had everything going for us. It was the best finals in the last 25 years. And what happens this year? But hey, Scott, I have to laugh at these people that say the players are greedy. Everyone that says that in the paper, on TV, if they were in the same spot, they'd be doing the same thing as players. Let's be honest about the whole thing.
However, Don, I do live in a small NHL market, Winnipeg, and I know that if the game isn't restructured in some way, either salary caps, revenue sharing, whatever, the Jets and a lot of other NHL teams aren't going to be around. Do you agree?
Well, I thought the players come up with a pretty good thing. Everybody take 5% off the gates. Everybody take 5% off the salaries, and they would have ended up with about $7 million. I thought that was a pretty good idea, but it doesn't look like that. It's the NHL wants a salary cap of some form, and I don't know if they're going to get it, but it's going to be a long, long process. I'll tell you, if it doesn't get settled by the October 15th.
Okay, Don, final comment. Back to football. I know you're a big booster of Hamilton. Are you saddened to see what's happened to the Ticats and how they're on the brink of financial doom?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that, you know, a team that goes back 100 years, and this could be their last game in Toronto. Sad to see, you know, Oski Wawa and all that stuff and Argos. Sad to see. I heard everybody talking about it. Let's hope if somebody comes along, the people of Hamilton start coming out to the games.
Don, thanks for your time. There's a little thing here called the second half, and they won't wait for us, so we got to go. Thanks again.
Okay, Scott Boy.
At Skydome, Cats lead the Argos at halftime. Don Whitman, one thing that's paid off in spades for the Ticats is the switch of quarterbacks in the second quarter.
The switch of quarterbacks has made a difference in the second quarter of the football game. Turnovers also played a key role, James.
A big key role, and the Ticat defense, Don, was into this game intensely, and Michael O'Shea, playing middle linebacker, had a marvelous first half. He came up with the first big play for the Ticats defensively.
Well, it was the interception by O'Shea that set up the first touchdown, and this is the statistical story of the first half. As you see, the Ticats with just a slight edge in net yards, but the turnovers, 2 of them, have made the difference.
And the passing yardage was critical also. We get a shot here of O'Shea's interception, and this interception led to some big offensive productivity right afterwards.
Following this interception, the Ticats were able to strike quickly. It was Calvin Means on the receiving end of a Reggie Slack touchdown throw.
Something the Ticat receivers hasn't been accustomed to all year long, but they came up with the big interception, and the offensive productivity led to a touchdown.
And they came right back on their next possession with Earl Winfield taking the throw from Slack.
Earl Winfield wanted to move into the slot for this game, and it showed early dividends for the Ticats by him scoring a touchdown here in the first half.
So the Ticats with 2 touchdowns on throws from Slack to Means and then to Earl Winfield enjoy an 8-point lead at halftime here at Skydome. Scott?
Okay, Don, the Argos beat the Cats on Labor Day, so now Hamilton's bidding for a split of this 2-game season series. It is the Cats by 8 with 30 minutes to go. The second half kickoff is next on the CFL on CBC, live from Skydome.
Welcome back to Skydome, where the Ticats lead the Argos by 8 points as we get set to start the second half. Reggie Slack with 2 touchdown passes in the second quarter of today's ball game. And I think it's safe to say he's enjoying this performance against his former teammates. Don Sutherland gave some consideration to starting Reggie Slack today, but he felt he owed it to Todd Dillon to give him the starting assignment, but he did not hesitate in moving Slack in once Dillon encountered some first quarter difficulties. Lamley's kickoff will go to Wally Zatilny. He takes it at the 15-yard line. And Zatilny brings it back to the 30, and that's where the Ticats will scrimmage 1st and 10 after a 15-yard return. And Reggie Slack continues at the controls of the Ticats.
Well, in a team sport, and him making the decision to go to Reggie Slack, Todd Dillon understands that he's been in that most of the year, but you see right here how the passes have been distributed through the receivers, Means, Barnes, and Aver. who has been lost for the most part for the rest of the game. And Winfield has had 4 receptions, his biggest game thus far this season.
Means has had 2 100-yard receiving games this season. He has the opportunity for another this afternoon. Reggie Barnes takes the ball out to the 38-yard line, stopped there by Eugene Toney.
What a difference of having a running back that you can feel comfortable with, and your offensive line knows can get the yardage if you give him a seam to get through. You don't need much of a hole for Reggie Barnes. Give him a seam, he'll pick up positive yardage for you.
The Ticats have an abysmal rushing attack through their first dozen games. They've only averaged 77 yards per game in running the football. Reggie Barnes provides the Ticats with another first down.
Successive running plays to start the second half, and what this does is it gives your quarterback that comfort zone because it slows down that pass rush. It won't allow the Argonaut defensive front to tee off on a Reggie Slack, and it makes him more dangerous in that quarterback position.
First and 10, the Ticats are at their own 42-yard line. Means goes wide to the right. McKay comes wide left. He's been the forgotten man in the passing attack so far this afternoon. Good inside fake by Slack, and Slack is going to run the ball to the 52 of the Argos, and that's a Hamilton first down. Tackled there by safety Ken Walcott. But it was a good inside fake by Reggie Slack that set up the run.
And, Don, what that allowed was the runs by Reggie Barnes to set this up. We'll see right here, Barnes is going to take the play fake. Slack's going to come here and go out, and he's going to get a great block by Wally Zatilny once he gets around the corner and picks up the first down downfield.
17 yards for Reggie Slack. This time the draw play with Reggie Barnes, and you can say goodbye. "51 yards for the Hamilton touchdown. Reggie Barnes taking it into the end zone. He was caught at the goal line, but his momentum carried him in for the 6 points.
And words are not enough to describe what a Reggie Barnes has meant to the Hamilton Ticats this afternoon. You'll see right here successive running plays to Reggie Barnes, but he reads his blocking so well as he breaks it back up inside, and then he'll kick it back heading towards the post as he outruns the safety Namako, and Eddie Thomas and Reggie Pleasant could just not close on him to stop him.
10 carries for 89 yards as Paul Osbaldiston adds the point after.
When you have a team, Don, that's been primarily a passing team because they've had an inadequate running game for most of the season, and then you're able to come out and establish the run, and you got a mobile quarterback to add into that mix, it's been a big plus for the Ticats this afternoon.
Not much of a passing attack either when you consider only 13 touchdowns via the aerial route in 12 games.
But Reggie Barnes, you see, he hasn't lost anything. As you said earlier, he was misused down in Shreveport playing out of the fullback position, but you put him back in that tailback spot where he's comfortable, and his vision, because he's getting the ball deep in the eye, he can allow his blocking to expand in front of him, read it, and hit the hole, and he was off to the races and scored the big touchdown.
The Ticats, when you talk about their ground game, last in first downs rushing, last in net rushing, last in average rush, and last in their average gain per rush. They have basically had no ground game all season.
Well, they found one this afternoon.
Osbaldiston's kickoff taken by Branch at the 20. And Branch has stopped at the 38-yard line. That's where Toronto will scrimmage when we return to Skydome with 12:28 remaining in the third quarter.
But see, the last time I wanted to kick him out, somebody appeared late. You know what I'm saying?
10, he's got an ice pack on his knee on the bench, but it's only a precautionary measure. He banged his knee on the turf. Will be back for the next series, they say. On Labor Day, the Argos beat the Cats 31-19. 12 points the margin of victory. They only play twice this season, so this game wraps up the season series, and the Cats feel they've got to win it by at least 13. That would ensure that if the two teams finish tied for the last playoff spot, Don, Hamilton would get it, and every player on this bench is fully aware of it.
Yes, and a Hamilton win today, Scott, would create a real battle over the final couple of weeks of the season for the final playoff positions in the East. It would mean that Toronto, Hamilton, and Ottawa would all have identical records, having played 13 games of the season.
Shamsid-Dean carries the ball out to the 43-yard line. That's a pickup of about 9 yards. It's 2nd and 1. Shamsid-Dean, the ball carrier again, and he is going to get the first down and much more, taking it to the 41-yard line of the Ticats. Adrian Smith came over to make the tackle.
Don, we've seen a very impressive rushing performance thus far. Watch Shamsid-Dean as he reads the blocking on the right side, as he gets the kick-out block from Versatile. He reads it up in the seam, he breaks it to the outside, he is able to turn up the corner and pick up the first down to the 41-yard line.
What an impressive debut for Shamsid-Dean. 15 carries for 122 yards. This is carry number 16, and he gets about 8 more.
It's so important when you can have a running back who can read his offensive lineman, and that is the key. Not get one who wants to explode past him with that quickness, but let the blocking set up in front of him, see the seam, and be able to hit it. 16 carries for 129 yards, and his offensive line, you have to take the hats off. They got a back who respects him, and they're getting the job done.
Well, that's something you detected earlier with Shamsid-Dean, is that he had the ability to read his blocks. The pass intended for Masadi, but he was out of bounds.
And a lot of people get misled when they see a back come in with great numbers physically and speed-wise, but the key is, like you said, Don, if he can read the blocks, because you have to let things set up in front of you, because you're not going to outrun all the defenders, and you have to wait on those big horses up front to get the job done.
This is only the 3rd 100-yard rushing performance by an Argo this year. Pinball Clemens ran for 120 yards on August 20th against Baltimore. In that same game, when the Argos knocked off Baltimore, Reggie Slack, then the quarterback, ran for 102 yards. So the 2 100-yard rushing games by an Argo both occurred against Baltimore, and Shamsid-Dean has surpassed those totals in just over 35 minutes of football this afternoon at Skydome. The field goal attempt from 39 yards by Lamley, and it's wide. Wiseman in the end zone is going to concede a single point.
That's what has troubled Wayne Lamley all year long. Seems like a very easy field goal attempt, very well within his range, but it goes wide. We'll wonder what it is. Is it lack of concentration or what? The spot seemed to be right there. Coach Bob Obilovich has been troubled with that all year long.
One of the problems the kickers may have, you wouldn't think that wind would be a problem in Skydome, even though the roof is open, but it comes off Lake Ontario, and there seems to be a scoop effect as it comes off the scoreboard at one end, and it seems to swirl, and both kickers were encountering some difficulties as they practiced pregame. Barnes, 89 rushing yards prior to this carry. The Ticats this year have not had a single 100-yard running game.
But Reggie Barnes is close, and he's in that neighborhood, and if he keeps running the way that he's been running thus far this afternoon, he will eclipse that 100-yard mark this year for the Ticats in his initial game.
Well, as Reggie Slack was saying, it makes his job as a quarterback much easier when he has a back he can rely on. Slack is being chased by Harding. He's going to dump it off, intended for Winfield. And Winfield was all wrapped up even before the ball got there by Walcott.
One of the things we've seen this year in the CFL is the resurgence of the running game. Backs have done a fine job this year of picking up the load of carrying the ball, and it's taken the burden off a lot of quarterbacks. When you can get a back who can pick you up 100 yards in a game, it's a big plus. Right here we see Winfield not being able to pick up that reception. Rodney Harding, one of the players featured in the opening, chasing Reggie Slack. Reggie's a little more fleet of foot than Rodney, and Rodney getting a little longer in the tooth. A 10-year veteran right there, just wasn't able to keep up.
Dale Sanderson bounds back. Where did he go?
One of them whip blocks.
Paul Osbaldiston's third down punt goes out of bounds. A 36-yard kick by Osbaldiston, and the Argos will scrimmage 1st and 10 at the 37.
You know, you look at the Argos offensive line this afternoon. We get a shot at Doug Sutherland right there, the head coach of the Ticats. But the offensive line of the Argos have done a wonderful job this afternoon for Shamsuddin, the running back, the rookie running back in his initial game. They've given Eric White, the quarterback, time to throw the ball. But, you know, if they can keep up what they've been doing, they're going to have a big plus working for them this year.
Masadi comes wide right. Branch splits to the left. White throwing deep for Branch. He had to wait for it. And that enabled Gary Wilkerson to recover and knock it away.
One of the things that White has experienced all afternoon is when he's tried to throw deep is that he hangs the ball up. He puts too much air under the ball. It allows the defense time to recover. As we see Gary Wilkerson able to break back on the ball, and it deflects off the top of his helmet. Branch couldn't come up with the reception, but White has to learn to put that more on a rope, get it there in a hurry.
Stay low, look for draw.
Same type of formation as Masadi comes wide right. Branch goes to the left. White operating out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10 from the 37. Intended for Shamsuddin. Adrian Smith came up to knock it down. The Ticats are very pleased with Adrian Smith. They really feel he's going to develop into an outstanding corner for them, if he isn't already.
Well, he's becoming one of those guys who is blossoming. In the first game that he played against the Argos this year in the Labor Day contest, he was victimized by Tommy Kane for a touchdown, but he stayed fast, he's developed, he's learned the defensive scheme of the Ticats, and they're very pleased with his progress.
He started 8 consecutive games at cornerback. Lamley's punt goes off the side of his foot and out of bounds, and the Ticats are going to get the ball back in great field position with 8:11 remaining in the third quarter.
Okay, let's go.
So, do you like him?
Yes, very much. These are nice.
Is he handsome?
It's like you saying Mohammed is Muhammad.
Cats lead 25-11 with 8:11 to go in the third quarter. Here's Ken Abrera, who is out of this game, having received the bad news. Ken.
Yeah, torn my ACL, got caught up in the turf, and looks like my season's going to be over for this year.
All right, we'll get back to you in just a second, but Don will take care of some business for us first, Don.
1st and 10 for the Ticats after an 8-yard punt by Lamley. Winfield on the receiving end of the throw, and he has a gain of about 4. Scott?
Ken, you told us that Jeff Fairholm warned you about this turf.
There's a sense of irony. I talked to him before the game and asked him how his knee was, and he said the turf was a little sticky, and that's what happened as far as I was concerned. I got caught up in the turf and jammed my knee and blew the ACL out, but football season's over, and so is hockey season.
So is hockey season. That's a deep cut for you, isn't it?
My brother's very disappointed. He has to find a left winger now.
Okay. Ken, good luck in rehabilitation.
Thank you very much, Scott.
Don?
2nd and 3 for the Ticats. Slack being pursued by Birch, and now Campbell takes up the chase. And Slack throws the ball. The fans react, thinking there should be a flag for perhaps intentional grounding, but Reggie Barnes was in the general vicinity.
This is what mobility at the pivot position will give you. Reggie Slack was trying to throw on 3 steps, but he couldn't find a receiver. As he tried to escape out of the backside, Mike Campbell held him in check, but he saw Reggie Barnes at the last moment, and he threw it at his feet because he knew if Reggie made the reception, it was going to be a loss on the play. Smart play by Reggie Slack.
Paul Osbaldiston will attempt a 46-yard field goal. And the wind that we talked about earlier coming off the Jumbotron may have had some effect. As Baldiston was saying, it's particularly bad at the partially closed end of the stadium where it has a scoop effect, and you really can't get much distance from beyond the 40-45-yard line.
Don, it normally beats the ball down. As he said, when it hits the top of the stadium, it drives it down, and that you can see that as it weighted down that ball. It went up, had a nice kick on it, but it just pushed it down and couldn't get there. We'll get the spot from Dillon right here. Perfect spot, gets his ball spin, get the laces away. Watch Osbaldiston as he hustles downfield, knowing that the ball was short, and gets in on the tackle right here. Ozzy's hustling. Ozzy's a big guy, about 6'3", 220 pounds, not afraid to go stick his head in the middle of things.
Branch is the injured Argo. Pete Giftopoulos may have rolled over on him and got his leg twisted as he went down.
Well, Argonauts have been snake bitten in the past couple of games here in Skydome. They've lost several players, key players, out of the lineups. We've had some injuries that they have not been able to fill in for. We'll get a shot of Branch right here as Osbaldiston goes high, and Gitoflis goes and grabs him around the legs, and that fight at the last moment got twisted up underneath, but he was able to go off the field under his own power.
So the score holds at 25-11 for the Ticats, with the Argos scrimmaging 1st and 10 from the 15. Shamsuddin cutting back inside, and he's surrounded by a horde of Ticat tacklers.
Well, they've been pursuing very well, the Ticat defenders, most of the afternoon. But Shamsuddin, you have to be impressed even on a short, limited run. What he does with his blockers in front of him, he allows everything to develop, then he tries to hit the hole.
That pass was deflected and then intercepted by Greg Eaglin. Touchdown. It may have been Smith who deflected the throw by Eric White, and Greg Eaglin takes it into the end zone for the major score.
Don, that ever-relentless Ticat defense this afternoon has put a lot of pressure on Eric White, and it was evident right there. Smith, the rookie defensive lineman, coming in, getting a part of Eric White's arm. We're seeing coming down below, working on Belanger. He hit the throwing arm of quarterback Eric White, and Greg Eaglin was right there. Johnny on the spot, picked it up and had a clear path into the end zone right there with Bailey leading the way.
Talk about turnovers having an impact. Now 17 points chalked up by the Ticats as the result of Toronto turnovers. The convert by Paul Osbaldiston makes it 32-11.
Eric White has had a very rough second half thus far, and right there he's reeling on the sideline, knowing that that's one that he would like to have back. But when one of those defensive linemen gets his hand up and hits your throwing arm, it disrupts that throwing motion. And as we saw the ball flutter, and Eaglin was right there to pick it off. You'll see Eaglin as he comes underneath the Modine right there. Shamsuddin make that, and he picks it off, and Bailey is in front of him along with Simmons getting the blocks on Coulter, and he waltzes into the end zone. Big play once again by the Ticat defense. Right there you see the deflection as he hits the hand, and White knew that that one was up for grabs, and it was nothing he could do about it.
Eaglin was the designated import for the first 2 games of the season, and then he got his start at halfback July 28th at Ottawa, and he's been a fixture ever since. 17 points for Hamilton as the result of turnovers. .5:28 remaining in the third quarter. Bobby Gordon starts from the 12-yard line. Carter made the tackle and lost his helmet in the process at the 25.
Intensity by the Ticats, Don. This is football at its finest when you got guys coming down sacrificing. We see Richard Nurse right here running down on kick coverage, getting in on the play right here. We see the hitting going on. These guys are playing football.
Eric White 0 for 4 in the second half this afternoon. Bob Obilovich said he first saw Eric Carter when he was at Knoxville and thought that he would be a prime candidate for employment in the CFL, but the Ticats got to him before he could. Long throw incomplete. It was intended for Bobby Gordon. Todd Wiseman, the safety, came over to help Adrian Smith.
And once again, Don, this ball is just in the air too long. Bobby Gordon gets the inside release on Eaglin, and he has to go up and wait for the football. It gave Todd Wiseman time to come across from his free safety and jar him from the football. Watch White in the pocket take another hit from Simmons. He has been taking a pounding. He's holding the ball too long. He's trying to go too deep, and you have to throw those short routes. Be complacent and just throw the short ones. Otherwise, the defensive line will get to you.
32-11, the Ticats lead. White got it away just in time, but it's intercepted. Again, he was under pressure. And the pressure of Tim Cofield enabled John Moten to drop back and make the interception.
Eric White is still down on the field. He is taking a pounding here, but he doesn't want to be content in throwing the short passes. He wants to go deep on every down, and when you got a fierce front four like the Ticats, they will get to you. You'll see him right here. He's sitting in the pocket, and he delivers the ball, and Moten is right there underneath to pick it off. Watch Tim Cofield come from the top of your screen right here and just level at Eric White.
The third quarter all season has been disastrous for the Argos. They have been outscored 135 to 56 in the third quarter, 14-1 so far today. Still 4:25 remaining in the third quarter. 1st and 10 Hamilton from the 41-yard line. Slack was looking to dump it off over the middle. It's incomplete.
And the pressure from the Argos front four got to Reggie Slack. He had the time to throw it on the three-step drop, but it wasn't there. The Argos had good coverage in the secondary, and he was forced to hold it, and Mike Campbell got there just as he was trying to release that football.
Rodney Harding is the all-time Argos sack leader, 11 so far this season. But the Hamilton offensive line has done a pretty good job of supplying protection this afternoon. On Southern Fields, it's one of the better offensive lines in the league. For Winfield, incomplete. He had Crispina running stride for stride with him, and Slack was unable to deliver the football.
Well, that time the Argos once again got good coverage from their secondary. Keita Crispina is one-on-one against Earl Winfield, and he plays him inside out, not allowing Winfield to break back towards the football, keeping him away from it, and it falls freely in the open field.
Osbaldiston will be attempting a 48-yard field goal. Osbaldiston this year is 6 for 11 in the 40 to 50-yard range. Marvin Graves is warming up. There could be a quarterbacking change for the Argos. Osbaldiston splits the uprights, and he makes it a 35-11 Hamilton lead with 3:36 remaining in the third quarter.
At Skydome, Marvin Graves in at quarterback for the Argonauts. He didn't think he was going to have to play today, but he has to now because Eric White got his bell rung in that last series. The Argo medical staff say he should be able to go back into the game, but not until he clears the cobwebs. So in the meantime, Don, the big question is, how will Marvin Graves' back hold up?
That is going to be the big question. Graves made his pro debut as a starter against Ottawa on September the 18th. Last week on the second series, he was hurt against Edmonton, and Eric White had to finish off. Shamsid Dean, the ball carrier, will get just a couple of yards before being stacked up by Jason Simmons and Hassan Bailey.
Don, Argos are going to go with the hurry-up offense with Graves being inserted into the lineup.
Well, Graves is a little more familiar with the Argo offense, having taken more reps in practice than Eric White. Behind the original starter, Mike Kerrigan. Tim Cofield with quarterback sack number 14. He's the league leader in that department.
Great rush by Tim Cofield as he's working one-on-one with Chris Schultz, a mammoth offensive tackle, but he's able to turn that corner. The young quarterback has to help his offensive lineman out, though. He needs to step up in the pocket. You know the ends are going to push the corners. Step up the pocket. Give yourself that extra step to throw the football. He didn't do that. The sack resulted from that.
I would assume the job of the defensive lineman is a little easier when he knows where the quarterback is going to be. Winfield on the punt return. He isn't going anywhere. Good downfield tackle by Keita Crispina. That was a 30-yard kick. No opportunity for a return. How important are turnovers? Consider this. The Ticats lead by 25 points. 20 of their points today have been the result of either a fumble recovery or an interception.
I would say that they're rather important, but also their defense has forced those turnovers, Don. They've been in the right place at the right time. They've been very aggressive most of the afternoon. They've been able to stop the passing attack of the Argonauts.
1st and 10 as Slack operates from the 51 of the Ticats. Inside toss to Reggie Barnes. Don Sutherland was so excited when talking about Reggie Barnes having had just 3 practices with his team, but playing in this very key game against the Argos. He said, we are confident we can run the ball with Reggie Barnes.
And I'm glad you called him Don instead of Doug like I did. So. But on that play right there, Reggie Barnes became the Ticats' first 100-yard rusher on the season, and Coach Don Sutherland is very elated about that fact.
Handoff to Reggie Barnes, and he'll get about 4 more. I think in official scoring tables, James, that last one would be registered as a pass reception.
All right, well, on this last run, we'll move him up to 95 yards. He's 5 yards away. Excuse me. Reggie Barnes is 5 yards away from becoming the Ticats' first 100-yard rusher in a game this season.
Means goes wide to the right. McKay, celebrating his 25th birthday today, lined up to the left. He hasn't seen the ball so far. Barnes, the ball carrier, and he stopped after a pickup of about 2 yards.
And he is the reason that Orlando McKay, that Earl Winfield wanted to move into the slot position to keep McKay in the lineup, figuring that the Ticats would have more offensive weapons with him in the game, but they have to be pleased with what Reggie Barnes has done this afternoon with this running on the ground.
And McKay hasn't seen the ball so far. And now Osbaldiston will attempt a 43-yard field goal. His last one was good from 48. He missed his previous try from 46. If he gets the ball up too high, it will hang, and that's what this one does. And Bobby Gordon concedes a single point. The field goal he made from 48 yards was more of a line drive kick.
And you had alluded to that earlier, Don, that he hammered the ball low, just got the line drive, but when he kicks it with his normal rhythm, the ball gets up in the air. Here at Skydome, you get that circular motion under the third shell of the dome back there, and it just drives the ball down. And you saw in his two of his last 3 field goal attempts, they were just beat down by the circular wind here in Skydome.
Bob Ovilovich yesterday, inciting his team's poor record at home, only 1 win this year, decided to change the strategy. He had the team in a hotel not far from Skydome, where they stayed overnight and made preparations for this game, but it really hasn't produced the dividends he had hoped for. Shamsuddin, the ball carrier, as he takes the little swing pass up to the 41-yard line.
You know, with what the Argonauts have done this afternoon, and they haven't had many numbers on the scoreboard offensively, the one big plus comes from Muhammad Shamsuddin, the young running back that's been filling in for Mike Clemens this afternoon. They're going to have a dilemma when Clemens comes back. How do you play both of these running backs? Because I think they both will be valuable weapons for the Argonauts the rest of the season.
Well, you said earlier that they would probably move Clemens into a slot back position. Graves drills it for a completion. Great move. Bobby Gordon has the first down at the 51 on the final play of the 3rd quarter, with the Ticats leading by 25.
It's official. Okay. All right, burnt me in the first one.
With the Skydome roof open, we have a great view of the CN Tower right next door. And those people in the observation deck of the tower can look down inside. 15 minutes remaining here at Skydome, with the Ticats leading 36-11. The Ticats next Sunday will be at home to the Edmonton Eskimos, while Bob Ovilovich takes his team to Sacramento on Saturday night.
Sacramento got a much-needed victory 2 nights ago against the Saskatchewan Roughriders to keep themselves in the run for that 4th and final position in the Western Conference playoff standings.
Yes, despite the absence of David Archer, they were able to beat Saskatchewan and move within a point of the Roughriders. Shamsuddin, the ball carrier, will get just a couple of yards. It will be 2nd and 8.
Not only, Don, did they lose David Archer, but their number 2 quarterback, Kerwin Bell, in that game.
This is the statistical story, and the most important number is the one second from the bottom. 4 turnovers by the Toronto Argonauts that have resulted in 20 Hamilton points. Marvin Graves replacing Eric White at quarterback. Graves is in trouble, and down he goes. Hassan Bailey will get this quarterback sack.
the Ticat defense is just teeing off. In the first quarter, the Argonauts were able to keep the Ticat defense at bay with Mohamed Samsudeen running the football. He had a very productive first half, but when you get behind, it doesn't make any difference who you have at quarterback, because the defenders can just tee off at that point and pin their ears back because they know you can't consistently stay with your running game, and your quarterback is going to be very vulnerable at that point.
Lamley's third down punt taken by Winfield. Winfield, who has 11 career punt return touchdowns, doesn't get any chance to move. Keith Costello was the first man downfield, limiting his return to 2 yards.
Winfield right there, you can see that he's a little frustrated, thought that he should have been able to get to the corner, thought he had enough speed, but when you've been out of the lineup as long as he's been this season and he had a serious leg injury, he just doesn't have that explosiveness that he had at the start of the season.
He missed 4 games after being hurt early in the year against Baltimore, and the Ticats suffered during his absence.
Well, they haven't suffered much this afternoon, Don, here at Sky Dome. They've had a pretty well-rounded attack offensively and defensively, and they've done all the right things, pushed all the right buttons. They made the big plays defensively when they had to, and the offense, when they got the turnovers, were able to get point production out of them.
A win for the Ticats this afternoon would create a 3-way tie for third place in the East. Movement at the line of scrimmage. The pass from Slack to Richard Nurse is complete, but it looked as though Richardson may have jumped prematurely at his right tackle position. Scott?
Down the injured Mike Kerrigan's in the advisory role, I guess, for the young Argo quarterbacks today. Have had a tough day. What have you told them?
Just to hang tough right now. You know, we're still in the ball game. It's fourth quarter, but you know, put one drive together, get a touchdown going, and, you know, on the board, and you know, there's all kinds of time left. That's the biggest thing. We just got to put 6 on the board quick.
Collarbone is your problem. You actually wanted the Argo doctor to freeze it and let you play today.
Yeah, I feel, you know, it's tough to throw right now, but you know, as the week goes on, hopefully the soreness will go away and I get more range of motion back. You know, and that's what I'm looking for, is a range of motion.
All right, Mike. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Scott.
When the season started, Kerrigan and Slack were the quarterbacks. Slack is picked off by Costello. Loses the football at the 4-yard line. And they'll rule that he was downed at that position. I said that Slack was the backup to Kerrigan when the season started. Kerrigan got hurt, Slack was traded, and now Slack, directing the attack for Hamilton, is picked off by Costello, and the Argos have a chance to get the much-needed touchdown Kerrigan alluded to.
Don, it all starts from the pressure up front, and that's what plays started with your defense and your offensive line play. We see Keita Crispina down, but watch Rodney Harding as he comes through almost untouched, puts the pressure on Reggie Slack, forces him to throw it early. Keith Costello got back in that seam. That's been a problem for the Argo linebackers all year long. They haven't been getting proper pass drops, but Keith Costello has those young legs. He gets out there in the flat, gets underneath Earl Winfield and picks it off, gets the ball down to the 5-yard line for the Argonauts. Big play that they need for their offense.
Crispina is still down, the former Temple Owl, trying to pounce on the loose ball. He thought it was a fumble after the interception by Costello as he took it down to the 4, but the officials had ruled that he was down, and Crispina, it would appear, is going to be okay to continue.
He's going off. He got caught in that melee trying to throw a block for Costello on that return, but the Argonauts haven't had many big plays defensively. Don, possibly this will get their offense jump-started and get them rolling back on the right track.
They trail by 25 with 13-16 remaining in the football game.
And Don, Marvin Gray's got a late jump coming on the field. When he gets to the huddle, the play clock is down to 10 seconds. He's going to have to rush to the line of scrimmage and get this one off.
He has to hurry this one. He got it away with 1 second left in the 20-second clock. Shamsuddin trying to get to the end zone, but he's driven back by John Moten.
Well, a Ticat defense came out with their backs up against the wall, and right here it's very important for the Argonauts to get in. This is a serious battle for both sides of the football right here. The Argonauts need the touchdown. The Ticats need to keep them out.
2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. Both teams looked upon this one as a crucial battle. The Ticats talked about the necessity of a win for the survival of the franchise. Shamsuddin takes it into the end zone, and the Argos have their first touchdown of the afternoon.
A lot of times you wonder about a young back when he comes into a game. Will he have the legs to carry you for 60 minutes? But the surgence of the Argo offensive line pushing back Ticats, reestablishing the line of scrimmage. And you saw Shamsuddin once again reading the key, the block, finding the seam, falls into the end zone for the touchdown.
He thought he had a touchdown on an early drive in the opening quarter, but it was wiped out by a procedure penalty. And Shamsuddin has his first CFL touchdown as Wayne Lamley adds the point after with 12:03 remaining. Shamsuddin was in the camp of the Seattle Seahawks. He joined the Argos on the Labor Day weekend. Has had an opportunity to work out with the team, and with the injury to Mike Pinball Clemens, drew his first starting assignment this afternoon, and what a start he has had in his CFL debut.
Very productive afternoon for that young man, but that offensive line has done a marvelous job all afternoon in opening up the holes. You'll get a good look at it right here as they get off the ball. That surgence up front drives the Ticats off. He follows the seam, falls in for the touchdown.
He was hoping to see the ball about 20 times today as a running back. He's carried 21 times for 141 yards. That's a season high for the Argo ground attack.
Well, he's earned his pay this afternoon, Don. We still have 12 minutes to go in this ball game, and he's been a valuable part of the Argonaut offense this afternoon. And if they can ride his shoulders the rest of the way and play as he's played up this level, they're still not out of this ball game.
We talked about the problems that the Argos have had in the third quarter, and here's Lamley recovering his own kickoff. What a heads-up play by Wayne Lamley. The Argos retain possession with 12:01 remaining. You don't often see an onside kick work as perfectly as the one just executed by Wayne Lamley. He simply dribbled the ball along the ground and was able to race up, and you talk about an Argo bounce, it came right back into his arms.
And the key was, Don, is like you said, he dribbled it. He just tapped the ball, and he stayed right with it. He didn't let the ball get that far away from his body. He caught it right in stride, went down, covered it, didn't try to run, just wanted to recover it.
1st and 10 for the Argos from their own 50. Graves continues at quarterback, looking for Masadi. He's got it down at the 29. Yards for Paul Masadi, looking for his first 1,000-yard season.
Don, he got that easy release inside against Wilkerson. Wilkerson gave him too much space, and the difference in Graves throwing the ball versus White, he puts it on a line, and then he got to Masadi with time.
1st and 10 from the 29. Masadi lines up wide left. The pass to Masadi, he'll have about 8 or maybe even 9 more.
Now, one of the things that Graves can do now in this situation that he has Wilkerson worried about Masadi stopping real quick, catching the ball, is come with the pump fake. If he comes with the pump fake, get Wilkerson the bite, go up top, it will be an easy 6.
4 catches for Masadi for 54. He needs 36 more to become a 1,000-yard receiver for the first time in his career. The toss to Shamsuddin. He cuts it back inside. He's got a first down. A very clever running. You mentioned early in the broadcast that he used his blockers extremely well. He read off the blocks again.
Don, we get a perfect example. He takes the pitch deep in the backfield. As he gets to the corner, he'll set up his blocking right there. As we saw Ford, the fullback, kick out. He came up underneath. He picked up ample yardage for the first down.
If Hassan Bailey did not get him, he was gone. This in the end zone for Masadi. Touchdown! That fake on Gary Wilkerson, and the Hamilton cornerback bit, and Masadi went by him.
Don, we had alluded to it earlier that he had worked him. He was throwing the quick passes against the Gary Wilkerson. Gary Wilkerson at that point becomes susceptible to the stop and go. Graves rolled right. Masadi baited him, took off on the fade route. Perfect strike from Marvin Graves. Touchdown as a result. Don, we're right in the middle of a football game once again here at 36-24.
In the third quarter, we talked about how the Argos have been outscored by the opposition. The fourth quarter has been disastrous this year for Hamilton. They have been outscored now 139 to 68 in the fourth quarter.
Right there, you saw Gary Wilkinson got up and tried to crowd a Paul Mazzotti. Mazzotti was able to get away from him, explode as Graves comes with the pump, goes up over the top. Mazzotti's got the separation from Wilkinson, and that's what happens when you have an aggressive defensive back. He wants to jam you. Mazzotti has the speed to run past you. Argonauts with the one more touchdown.
Graves has completed his last 5 passes for 69 yards, and we've got a ball game with 10:02 remaining in the fourth quarter.
And that's one of the things when the Argonauts signed Marvin Graves during the offseason. They thought that he could be their quarterback of the future. They knew the man had a lot of promise coming out of University of Syracuse, and in his limited playing time this season for the Argonauts, they're very happy with his productivity.
Do you think they dare attempt a short kickoff again? The coaching staff at the Hamilton bench is trying to alert people to it, but he's going to drive it deep. Zatilny heading to his left, and he's caught with a good downfield tackle by Norm Casola. Zatilny actually lost 3 yards on the attempted return.
Don, sometimes you don't have to trick them. You just roll with the emotion. And right now, the Argos are playing on an emotional high. They've come out, they've gotten 2 quick touchdowns, they've gotten back in this ball game. The defense now is feeling that resurgence with the offense is passed off to them, and now they just have to keep it rolling.
Turnovers have really been critical. The Argos with 7 points off turnovers. Hamilton with 20 turnover points. Barnes, the ball carrier, and he picks up 7, stopped by Keith Costello. He's been playing most of the afternoon in a linebacking position, replacing Don Moan.
But he has done a fine job in filling in at that strong side linebacker position for the Argonauts. He had that last big play defensively for the Argos defense where he got the interception when Rodney Harding put the pressure on Reggie Slack, returned the ball to the 5-yard line. A touchdown was a result of that turnover.
Movement at the line of scrimmage as the toss goes to Barnes, and Barnes is stopped short of a first down. It looked as though Jeff Fields may have jumped prior to the ball being snapped.
But it may not matter. It was very close to the first down stick. Let's go down to the sideline to Scott Oakes here.
Well, James, the story on Don Moan is that prior to the game, he re-injured his ankle. They gave him a needle, and he tried to go on it in the first half, couldn't. They shot him up again in halftime and still didn't do any good, so he's out of this game now for the duration. And you know what his nickname is after he ran over a spike with his lawnmower and had it embedded in his thigh, the most bizarre injury of the year? The Argos have started calling him Lawn Moan. First and 10 from the 33-yard line. Barnes trying to get outside, and he does. And he gets a first down.
Don, it's been a pleasure working this game this afternoon to see 2 fine, capable running backs as we've seen here today in the stadium. Reggie Barnes right here has been an equalizer for the Ticats. When you can get a back of his capability who can read the block, be able to bounce it outside and pick up that extra yard, experience but also determination is a key factor, and he's been successful in his return to the Ticats this year from the Shreveport Pirates.
Winfield from the slot lines up to the left. Handoff to Barnes. Barnes, the Ticats' first 100-yard runner this season, as he picks up about 6.
You know, he ran into a unfortunate situation last year in Ottawa. They had decided to go with 2 Canadian tailback, 2 running backs last year, and they felt that Reggie Barnes was expendable. That situation didn't turn out. They brought him back late in the year, and then he was sent off to Shreveport at the beginning of the season, and now he's in Hamilton, and they're very happy about the situation.
And as we said, in Shreveport, he was used as a blocking back more than a running back, a position he was not at all comfortable in. He feels much more confident in parrying the football, and the Ticats obviously are confident in giving it to him because it looks as though he's provided them with another first down with 7:24 remaining.
Well, the Ticats, is very important for them to get this first down, but the Argonauts had gotten back in this game, and they felt that getting this close that they were right in for the taking. But Reggie Barnes has been the guy that has not allowed them to stop anything because he's a strong runner. They're going to go for it here on 3rd down, and when you got a back of his capability, you figure very comfortably you can get the 1st down.
Brad Alberg comes into the ball game. Don Sutherland sending in some play calling help for Reggie Slack. Gisborne and Gathopoulos also come in on the 3rd down play.
This is what's known as the hog formation. Get all those big guys up front and just follow their lead. They'll take you to the promised land.
Oh, I'm not so sure, although it looked like the forward progress may have produced a 1st down, but the spot will be very critical.
Calvin Teagle, the middle linebacker of the Argonauts, met Reggie Barnes right at the top, the pinnacle, and I believe that he stopped him on the play.
I always wonder about a slow developing play where you hand off to a back rather than the quarterback taking it himself on a 3rd and inches situation.
You want to walk right up and just sneak that ball because it gives the defense too much time to react to where the ball may go to. Leon Hatziano got underneath, disrupted that, came in as an extra defensive lineman for the Argonauts. They made it on the spot, but a great defensive effort by the Argonauts nevertheless. Leon Hatziano got underneath, disrupted Dale Sanderson. Calvin Teagle came over the top. Great surge by the Argonaut defense, but the Ticats got the 1st down.
Barnes has handled the ball on the last 5 plays for the Ticats. 18 carries now for 111 yards. And it's Barnes again, 6 in a row. A little shovel pass inside. He's tackled by Mike Campbell.
Mike Campbell was not fooled on that play, stayed at home. Reggie Barnes has been a workhorse. He's probably carried the ball almost as many times today as he's carried all year long. He has to be happy, and a back tends to get stronger the more times they carry the ball. They like to go in that 20 to 25 carry range, and he's had an armful this afternoon.
Zatilny comes in, Bushy goes out. The Ticats with their 5-receiver set. Slack has his pass knocked down right at the line of scrimmage. Joe Sardo, who has been shoveled in and out of a linebacking position, may have been the man who knocked it down.
The reserve linebacker, you'll see him come on a delayed blitz from the top of your screen as he gets the seam right here working on Reggie Barnes. He goes up high and he bats the ball away from Reggie Slack, not allowing a completion for the Ticats.
5:58 is the time remaining in the football game. 36-25 the Ticats lead. Gordon is the lone man back. The Argos felt they might be able to pressure Paul Osbaldiston because the Ticats have had problems all season in getting the ball back cleanly to him. This is a good snap and a good kick. Bobby Gordon on the return breaks a couple of tackles. And it's Osbaldiston who saves the day for the Ticats. That was a 38-yard kick and a 24-yard return.
Here's what's coming up on the CFL on CBC. Next Saturday afternoon, we'll be in Louisiana. Winnipeg at Shreveport for the completion of their home-and-home series. On Sunday afternoon, Edmonton is at Arvin Stadium in Hamilton. And then on Thanksgiving Monday, Ottawa at Calgary in a triple-header holiday weekend for us. Back to the Edmonton at Hamilton game. If the Cats win today and the fans respond by showing up in the form of a crowd of at least 20,000, that may be a sign that all is not lost for the CFL in Hamilton, although it would seem the fans have long since spoken there. But the Cap players are really hoping things can be rescued, and that's why, Don, as you have said, they believe this could be a franchise-saving game.
Yes, they have talked about this being a pivotal game for the franchise. But right now, the Argos are trying to get back into it. Oh, did Ford ever take a hit from John Moten?
That's football at its finest right there. John Moten came up and lowered the house on Dwayne Ford. I mean, he dropped him in his tracks. I mean, looked like a deer standing in front of a car there for a second.
And now there are penalty flags after the fact.
Watch this hit, Don. I mean, he just levels the shoulder and he falls. Looked almost like he was unconscious there for a second.
The Western Ontario product must have wondered what hit him. Thought maybe a semi came off the Gardner Expressway into the Sky Dome because he went bouncing back.
Hamilton, number 13, after the play. First down.
A costly penalty, though, against the Ticats after the play. Improves the Argo field position.
Well, the Argonauts have improved themselves continuously here in the second half. Right there, we see the penalty numbers for both teams, but watch this shot by Moten. I mean, every time you show that, you cringe because you get those chill bumps with being a former defender. You know, you stand up, down, let me get a shot.
James, keep your distance, please. From the 51, it's 1st and 10. Graves is going to get hit from behind, and he was fortunate that he released the ball before Cofield got to him.
Well, Tim Cofield is relentless. He's one of the fastest and strongest defensive linemen in the entire CFL, and that time you could see him tracking down Marvin Graves as he tried to get away, but Graves was buying time, but Cofield was right there, right after him, along with Simmons, and he was very fortunate he didn't take a sack on that play.
You could see Cofield's eyes light up. It looked as though he was going to get quarterback sack number 15.
Would you say he was about ready to dance once again?
He was ready to celebrate, but Graves was able to release the football before Cofield got there. 2nd and 10. Bad snap. Graves has to track it down. And Graves to the far side of the field for Rob Grifo. A broken play, 1st down. For Bob Ovilovich and Rob Grifo, that must have seemed like an eternity for the football to get there.
Another Southern Ontario product, Rob Grifo, but Marvin Graves did a marvelous job of picking up that loose ball. He was being tracked down again by that defensive line, but Rob Grifo, a big target, 6'6", standing there with his arms waiting, gets the big play for the Argonauts. They're operating at the 15-yard line, marching in.
Rob Grifo's first reception as an Argo. The University of Toronto product sets it up for Bobby Gordon in the end zone. Touchdown! And I think the Argos will go for a 2-point convert. It's now 36-31.
Don, we've set ourselves up here for a fantastic finish. The Argonauts have done everything right. They got the big play to Grifo, and then the time by the offensive line for Graves to find Gordon in the back of the end zone for the touchdown strike.
Graves, 8 of 9 for 124 yards and 2 touchdown throws.
The Argonauts are going to move this to the left hash to give Graves more time, possibly on a roll right, to flood that area of the field and find an open receiver possibly.
Still 3:17 remaining here at Sky Dome.
This opens him up for that run-pass option. He's going to go with Mazzotti, backside one-on-one against Wilkerson, trips right.
On the option, Graves is caught from behind. Michael O'Shea, the linebacker, snuffs out the 2-point convert try. We'll be back with the Argo kickoff with 3:17 remaining. From Saskatchewan, only had 1 catch with the Rough Riders, but his catch this afternoon set up the touchdown for Bobby Gordon, and that has brought the Argos within 5.
Right here has been the key for the Argonauts all afternoon. The offensive line forming that pocket, giving the quarterbacks time, and Marvin Graves especially to find his receivers in the back end of the secondary of the Ticats.
Adrian Smith will return the kick for the Ticats, and he's brought down by Hatziano at the 36-yard line, a 16-yard return. Leon Hatziano basically plays on special teams for the Argos, and many times these special team players are overlooked, but not by the coaching staff.
Not by the coaching staff. Nicknamed Alphabet Man by his teammates. the only player in CFL history to play 19 games in an 18-game schedule also. But Leon Haziano, we saw him on that last series when the Argonauts were playing defense, the surge guy trying to stop that short yardage play of the Ticats.
But think of all the Aeroplan points he accumulated in all those trades between Ottawa and Winnipeg.
And he took his wife to Hawaii for Christmas that year on Aeroplan miles.
First and 10, Hamilton from the 36. 4 receivers to the left. Slack is intercepted. Reggie Pleasant, the Argos all-time interception leader, is knocked down on the far side and out of bounds with 2:42 remaining. A 30-yard return by Reggie Pleasant.
What an emotional swing and change of momentum by both teams. It was all Ticats in the first half, all Argos in the second half. The defense has been the tail of the tape this afternoon. Reggie Slack with the time. Reggie Pleasant read it, broke off of his receiver, came from the outside corner position, inside, came like a free safety, and a great return, picking up his blocking, getting knocked out down at the 40-yard line.
47th career interception for Reggie Pleasant. First and 10, Toronto from the 40-yard line. Graves trying to dump it off, trying to throw the screen, it looked like, to Ford. And it will be second and 10. 2:37 remaining in the football game. 36-31, the Ticats lead. How prophetic was Mike Kerrigan in the interview with Scott Oak when he said, if we get 6, there's still plenty of time left. They got an immediate 6, and they are making a comeback.
Well, there's plenty of time left in this game when you look at it with 2:37 remaining and the Argos trailing by only 5 points.
Graves throws the pass incomplete, intended for Creefo. Don Odegaard was defending against the big slot back.
Well, the Argos are going to elect to go for a field goal right here where they elected to go for the 2-point conversion after the touchdown. Now, this is that end of the stadium where the wind swirls and it's been beating down the balls of the Paul Osbaldiston. How will it affect Wayne Lamley in this same situation?
This will be a 47-yard field goal attempt by Lamley. 2:31 remaining. A line drive kick. And it bounces through the end zone for a single point. So the Argos trail by 4 with 2:24 remaining. There is a tendency, I suppose, James, for kickers to sometimes overstride.
Well, they really want to punish the ball, and you'll see right here as he overstrides at plant foot. Watch as it goes past the football right there, gets just half a foot too far, and he pounds the ball in a straight line drive.
Todd Dillon back in at quarterback, hands off to Reggie Barnes, and Barnes picks up about 3. Calvin Tiggle made the tackle.
Well, a change at quarterback. Reggie Slack hadn't got the things done in the past couple of series. He put a lot of good numbers up when he came to the game, and Coach Southern feels that if he can get Todd Dillon back in to close this out, possibly not take any chances, come with a couple of short passes, maybe they can run the time off the clock.
2:08 remaining. Dillon is under pressure. He steps away and then throws. He's intercepted. Picked off by Eddie Thomas. They're ruling it dead at the 44.
Great play by the Argos defense once again. It's been a series of great plays on both sides. First half, as we said, it was all Ticats. Second half has been all double blue. The big plays by the secondary. The series prior to this, Reggie Pleasant on the right side with the interception. Now you come back with Eddie Thomas with the big interception. Now the offense of the Argos have to make something happen. You see right there, Swift Birch flushing Todd Dillon out of the pocket. Eddie Thomas going down low, coming up with the scoop. He was down on that play by Means, but the Argonauts have the ball once again.
Calvin Means, the receiver Todd Dillon was looking for, but Eddie Thomas with the interception gives the Argos the ball. First and 10 from the 44. Graves is throwing deep for Creefo. He can't get to it. Grifo was running against Todd Wiseman, the safety, and there was no way that Grifo was going to get to the football with 1:46 remaining.
Well, Don, when you have a young quarterback, sometimes they come with tendencies, and the tendencies are too strong. He locked on Grifo, where he had Dwayne Ford in the left flat, wide open.
Grifo is getting an opportunity to play slot back. Eric Grage is out. Joe Burgos was the DI, but they've moved him into the right tackle position, replacing Francois Belanger, so Grifo's in at slot back. That's the reason he's seeing so much playing time. He makes the catch! Grifo takes it down to the 10.
Don, only Rob Grifo can make that catch. It was out of the reach of everyone. He had Marvin Graves. It was a poor pass because he threw it between two defenders. We get a clear shot of it right here, and Rob Grifo goes high in the air between Elgin and Smith on the corner and makes the reception at the 10-yard line. The Argos are marching.
6'6", 230 pounds. Grifo has given the Argos life just outside the 10-yard line. Handoff inside to Shamsuddin. Penalty flag in the play as he takes it to the 6 with 1:20 remaining at Skydome.
Shamsuddin has been consistent life for the Argonauts all afternoon. A very positive sign and situation for them. He's gave them a strong running game.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 42. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
The face mask call against John Moten. That takes the ball to the 3.5-yard line.
Well, John Moten in this situation looked like he was down, and he reached up and he grabbed Shamsuddin by the face mask at the last moment and caused that penalty. A very foolish play by John Moten.
First and goal, Toronto. Graves, surprisingly, is going to try and throw. Oh, he was lucky. Adrian Smith got a hand on it to knock it down. Aren't you a little surprised at throwing the ball in that position?
You have Mohammed Shamsuddin, who has had a marvelous game from the tailback position for the Argos. You have the ball first and goal at the 3.5-yard line. Give him 3 cracks to get into the end zone. Your offensive line has done a wonderful job pushing back this Ticat defensive line this afternoon in all your running situations.
Well, the Argos are coming out throwing as Graves is in the shotgun. He's going to roll right. Throws it back for Gordon. Touchdown!
John, I guess it would be safe to say that neither one of us are coaches in this situation.
Skydome this afternoon. Bobby Gordon with a second consecutive touchdown, and the Argos have the lead. 38-36, Lamely with the point after. 1:07 remains. The Argos lead by 3. Graves has completed 10 of 15, 161 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 of them to that man, Bobby Gordon.
We came in here today looking for a defensive battle today, and an offensive slugfest is broken out. Bobby Gordon breaking through right there to coverage. A very studious play on his behalf, but Marvin Graves had the time and the presence of mind to wait on his receiver to clear, find him on the backside, but the speed of a Marvin Graves getting outside, what he did there was he stepped up inside of the contain, bought the extra time to get the ball to a Bobby Gordon to put the Argonauts in the lead. Marvin Graves right there, jubilant, signaling, hey, this one is for us today, celebrating with Bobby Gordon right there. I mean, he has done all the things right this afternoon. Didn't think he would play, had the back spasms, came into the game, and has put the numbers up for the Argonauts this afternoon.
He may have had back spasms, but he has given the Ticats spasms of another kind with his performance in the fourth quarter. Calvin Means on the kickoff return is wrapped up and down at the 38 by Kevin Smelly. It was 36-11 Hamilton after 3 quarters. It looked as though it was game, set, and match. And in the fourth quarter, Don Sutherland has seen the Argos score 28 unanswered points.
Well, when Marvin Graves was signed by the Argonauts, they felt that that was the largest signing, the biggest signing that they'd had since they had signed the Rockets. They felt that by bringing Marvin Graves into this organization, that they had a quarterback that was going to build their future. And you see right here, 28 fourth quarter points. That's been on behalf of the defense and Marvin Graves coming in and setting the house on fire.
And it all started with an interception return. Todd Dillon's in trouble, throwing to the sidelines, incomplete. He was looking for Winfield. It will be 2nd and 10 with 52 seconds remaining.
When you look at the situation that Todd Dillon is in right now, there's no doubt at what the Argonaut defensive line is going to do. They're going to pin their ears back and come at Todd Dillon. He's not a mobile quarterback. He's not that hard to find in the pocket.
The Argos could have used about 3 of these points last week against the Edmonton Eskimos when they jumped into a 22-0 lead and blew the football game.
Well, they just became stagnant, couldn't get any points, and the Eskimos kept fighting and fighting and eventually won the football game.
Knocked away by Reggie Pleasant. He closed quickly. The first time they've gone to Orlando McKay this afternoon.
Don, you know, we've had the tale of 2 tapes. We had the first half that was all Hamilton Tiger Cats. They couldn't do anything wrong. Their defense made the big plays. But in the second half, we've seen a swing of things. The Argonauts have rolled that tide. They came in, the defense made the big plays, the offense was able to get points out of it, and then they came and answered with Reggie Slack. Reggie Slack was calm and poised, and he's guided this offense. Looked like it's going to be an eventual victory for the Argonauts.
And now Todd Dillon, the starter, continues at quarterback. He dumps it off to Reggie Barnes. He's going to be stopped short of a first down. And with 37 seconds remaining, the Argos should be able to put this one away. You know, what a demoralizing loss this will be for the Ticats.
A very tough loss. They haven't had good offensive numbers all year long, and all of a sudden they're able to come up with 36 points, but they're not able to come up with a victory. Looked like they might have had this one put away. They had the huge lead, but the Argos kept clawing and clawing their way back into the game. Big pluses for the Argonauts, Don. Looked like they might have found a running back that can carry the mail for them the rest of the way. Mohammed Shamsuddin has carried the ball very admirably this afternoon for the Argonauts. But even more important, the young quarterback, Marvin Graves, coming in, getting the job done in the pressure situation, bringing his team from behind, pulling victory out. Looked like they had lost.
Well, the Argos haven't been filling Skydome this season, but the spectators in attendance on this sunny Sunday afternoon have certainly delighted in what they have witnessed in the fourth quarter and the unveiling of a new talent in Mohammed Shamsuddin, who has led the team with 24 carries for 156 yards.
Well, Swift Birch on the defensive side of things for the Argonauts played a very strong game at his defensive end. Calvin Teagle, the rock that they have at middle linebacker, is ever consistent, making big plays when called upon. But the cornerbacks, Eddie Thomas and Reggie Pleasant, shutting down the wideouts of the Ticats, making the big interceptions, keeping the Argos in this ball game this afternoon.
Mohammed Shamsuddin gets a first down. And Marvin Graves, coming off the bench, has orchestrated one of the great comebacks of all time in the CFL. 28 fourth quarter points for the Toronto Argonauts in erasing a 36-11 deficit.
You know, this was a very exciting and pleasant game to work this afternoon. The crowd really appreciated it here at Skydome. It was wonderful not to see people exiting with 5 or 10 minutes to go in the game for once, to sit around and do the 60 minutes of football and enjoy the productivity of the Argonaut players. You know, we've been in a strike-infested situation lately with baseball and hockey, but the true football was played this afternoon at Skydome, and the fans got their money's worth.
And the fans in attendance have been rewarded with a tremendously exciting football game as the Argos become the sole occupants of third place in the CFL East. They win their 5th football game of the year in dramatic fashion. 28 unanswered fourth quarter points for a 39-34
39-36 win over the Hamilton Ticats. For Don Southern and his Ticats, this is going to be a long, quiet trip back to Hamilton on the QEW.
The turning point in the game, you know, when we look at it, if you recall the short kick by Wayne Lamley that caught the Ticats off guard, and everything snowballed from that point for the Argonauts, and they were able to pull out this victory this afternoon.
39-36, the Argos beat the Ticats. Scott?
Well done in the third quarter. You surely would have given odds on a Ticat victory, but this is the Canadian Football League, and it concludes with a 39-36 Toronto win. Well, home field advantage has meant almost nothing to the Argonauts this season, but this win stops a 4-game losing streak at Skydome. 39-36 the final. I haven't seen a comeback like this in a long, long time, and critical to it, Marvin Graves coming into the game in relief of Eric White in the second half. Here's the winning touchdown, Graves to Bobby Gordon. And with this, the Argonauts execute one of the finest comebacks, as I say, in a long, long time. And now, Marvin, you know what the CFL can be like.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. I looked up at the clock, it was about 12 minutes left, and I kind of thought it was over, but, you know, it is the CFL, 2 downs, and you can get the ball back, so we just hung in there and stuck together, and we won a big game.
I know you had said you weren't thinking you'd get the chance to play today, maybe even hoping you wouldn't because of your back.
Well, it was my decision. The coaches left it up to me. I didn't feel 100%. I felt if I came in and got hurt, then that, you know, knocked us down to one quarterback, basically. So I felt that Eric could get the job done, and if necessary, if I had to come in, I would come in.
I'm going to give you a chance to say a few words about the defense. 2 key interceptions gave you a couple of glorious opportunities to win this in the fourth quarter, and you did on the final one.
Our defense has been playing hard all year, and I think the main thing is sticking together. I think, you know, we believe in them, and they believed in us, and you know, you just can't say too much about the guys, you know, picking the ball off and getting us good field position.
How about the stick man, Rob Crefo? He was a favorite receiver late in the game for you.
He's a tall receiver. And on that one corner route, you just can't throw that to the average size receiver. The halfback went up, he missed it, and by Crefo being so tall, you can throw that ball up and he can go get it.
You came up throwing on the goal line on the winning drive. Was that a gutsy move?
Well, that's a young mistake, you know. In that situation, we were
candid of you to admit you made a mistake.
We were, you know, in attack offense, and I was calling basically my own plays, and in that situation, I got to run the ball.
Marvin, congratulations. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, there have been some fine comebacks over the years in the Canadian Football League, and this one ranks right up there. 39-36 the final, back to conclude the record, but the point is playoffs aren't that far away, and at long last, the Argos have helped themselves with the win. 39-36 final. Later tonight, the Canadian Triathlon Championships for Montreal. Our next telecast on the CFL on CBC next Saturday afternoon from the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Pirates versus Winnipeg. A week today, the Ticats are at home to the Edmonton Eskimos. On Thanksgiving Monday, Ottawa is at Calgary, so it's a holiday weekend triple header on the CFL on CBC. And at Skydome this afternoon, a vintage CFL comeback, a brilliant fourth quarter by Marvin Graves and the Argonauts, and they have reason to celebrate as they have staked a claim to a playoff spot in the East Division. Thanks for watching, and so long from Toronto.
CBC Sports, home of the champions.